Step into.
It's Mick in Memphis. Charles in East Tennessee. Light it up. Kick back. This is the real smoke podcast. 2 mics, 2 chairs, same sky, different air, long ash, slow burn. Every story takes a turn. Thursdays, 8 o'clock. Let the week just unlock. From the leaf to the glass, we're talking good times at last. This is real smoke, real smoke. Turn it up, let it roll. From Memphis down the river to the Knoxville hills, we know real people, real talk. Let the conversation flow. Every Thursday, light it, listen. Welcome to the Real Smoke Show. Cigars, small batch, perfect draw, perfect match. Whiskey whispers in the glass. Let the past and present clash. Legends, up and comers, late nights, long summers, behind the scenes, on the grind. We're getting into every side. This is real smoke, real smoke. Turn it up, let it roll. From Memphis down the river to the Knoxville hills, we know real people, real talk. Let the conversation flow. Every Thursday, light it, listen. Welcome to the Real Smoke Show.
This episode may contain strong language, weak opinions, bad advice, and men speaking confidently about things they only half understand. Statements made should not be considered factual, morally sound, especially if they are drinking. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Real Smoke Podcast with your hosts, Mick and Charles, the podcast that's all about real people, real cigars, and real smoke. Coming to you live from the Real Smoke Virtual Cigar Lounge, bringing you the best of cigars, whiskey, and all the good times in between. It's more than just a podcast, it's a community of cigar lovers. So grab your favorite smoke, pour a drink, and join us as we dive into all things cigars, whiskey, and just having a damn good time. This is the Real Smoke Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 68 of the Real Smoke Podcast. We are your hosts. That man be the Mick, I be the Charles, and we have another fantastic episode lined up for you tonight. It's Women's Domination Month, and we got a kick-ass guest tonight. I'm excited. Are you? Could you tell by the video earlier? I'm excited.
I could, man. I could. I fed off your energy. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's go. But before we do that, we do got to pause for just a minute and say what's up to Norm. He's given us some lessons again this week.
I'm ready.
What lessons does he have for us today? Let's find out.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that does this stupid shit in the cigar lounge. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't be that guy.
That was good.
Yeah, I mean, you ever wonder why they call Aldi gaping ass?
I don't know. That I know he's not the favorite Aldi. Shit. I gotta run, man. I'll catch you later, bro.
Oh, shit. That'll teach you to burn evenly.
Come on. You don't gotta smash them. Just rest it in the ashtray. They go out all on their own.
Huge
So good.
thanks. Huge thanks to Norm over at the Cigar Vault in Oakdale. Guys, go check them out. Use the code at checkout, Real Smoke, and save you 10% on all the glorious things that they offer over there. Check them out at not the Real Smoke, the Cigar Vault, Oakdale.
Okay.
So what's going on, bro?
Not much, man. Now I can't get enough of those videos. I really hope they keep this up because I mean it's amusing, it's creative, but my favorite part is always Miguel trying to hold it together to do like a 10-second scene. It's like the best thing ever. But no, man, I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this one all week, and actually for a couple of weeks now. And I know you're the same, man. We've been talking back and forth. So excited for our guest this whole month, Women's Domination Month, Female Domination Month. I'm excited, man.
This is a lineup every year. I mean, I say every year, but hell, this is the second year. But both years I've been extremely excited for because we're both girl dads. We say this a lot. This comes up a lot on a lot of episodes. We're both girl dads. And, in my industry, it's not that female dominated. And, in the cigar industry, it's not that female dominated. No. In the whiskey industry, it's not. But the good thing is, it's getting more dominated. And some of the big names, some of the ass kickers that are in these industries are all female. And I'm excited to bring them out here and let them tell their stories and let them have fun, and whether it's the whiskey audience, which, Amanda's got a lot of followers in the whiskey world. If it's not the whiskey world learning about the cigar world, or the cigar world getting to learn now about the whiskey or the moonshine world, these two things go hand in hand, and, I'm excited for it.
They do. Yeah, I couldn't say it any better, man. I know we do talk about it a lot about being girl dads, and I do think that's a big reason that me and you are both excited about this month, man. Every year we want to. I'm always rooting for our daughters, our girls, in girls sports. Like I love it. I coached girls soccer forever, man, and just seeing girls succeed, and especially when they kick boys' asses, that's the way to go, man. So I'm excited for tonight. Let's keep this month rolling.
What do I hear in the background?
I freaking muted myself, so there we go. Yeah, they're back.
Yeah,
they're back.
You censored yourself on that one. Hey guys, if you're new to this one, about this time every year and all the way into fall, you're going to hear geese all around Mick. They don't come out any other time until they see Mick out here with a cigar in his mouth on a podcast, and then they swarm him. I think they like the smell of cigars, but there is a hashtag for this one. Anytime that you hear the geese on there, hey Mick, what do they type in? Hashtag
effing geese. Yeah.
They clean that one up very well.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. The geese literally flew across the lake and just landed right in front of my apartment the minute we started going live. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Enjoy the geese tonight, guys.
Guys, do us a favor. If you're watching on any of the platforms, go check us out. We are on Facebook. You can look up the Real Smoke Podcast on Facebook. We do have a private group on there, because what we do, they don't like public groups, so we have to put it private. If you ask to join, we'll let you in. We are on YouTube. Most of you are watching on YouTube right now. Go check us out. If you have to leave and come back, or if you're watching it on Amanda's and you need to go look up us, go do that. Go follow us on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate it. If you're watching us on Instagram, give us a follow. You have the podcast account, which Mick controls. You have Mick's personal account, and you have my personal account. Go check them out. Our accounts are on the screen listed beside our names on Instagram. Go do that. Give us a hand. Help us out. We would appreciate it. So let's talk about let's go through the rundown. Same thing we do every week. Let's go ahead and hawk a few things. That way we can do it. We got merch.
We do have merch.
We got merch.
The Waffle House.
The Waffle House shirt. So Mick, go ahead and tell us about we got merch.
Yeah, you can find all this great stuff on our Instagram and the link tree. Just click on the Real Smoke merch link. There's so many great ones. The Retro Veterans Day, Ed Skeen, Waffle House. The one we did was for Cigar Army, Operation Give Back, something great they do every year. Another Veterans one we did, Call Me Poppy, Fueled by Caffeine, Nicotine, and Sarcasm. The Team USA one in honor of the Olympics, and the cigars solved most of my problems. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many great ones. We actually did just come out with two new ones. We did the St. Patrick's Day one and the Cinco de Mayo, or Day of the Dead. So they're out. I believe we dropped one more, the new Meanwhile in Memphis one. That one came out. So yeah.
Was it the Meanwhile in Memphis? I think we also have one for an event that the Smokers Abbey in Memphis is doing. I think that one's there, and all the proceeds for that one goes to the charity that they're going to be working with, and we'll try to bring that up here really soon. Also, go check out Smoke Inn. If you're looking for a Cigar of the Month Club, go check out Smoke Inn's Cigar of the Month Club. Go use this code RSNEW, and it'll get you a torch lighter and a perfect cutter. Let them know that we come by just using that code RSNEW. Check out Smoke Inn Cigar of the Month Club. We also have a Patreon. We do not ask brands to give us anything. Yep. If brands offer, yes, we take. But we just ask them, what do you want us to enjoy and review? And when they tell us, we go buy it. If you're in whiskey or cigar industry, you know how pricey that gets. And our wives, when we first started this one, realized how much money we were spending, and they weren't too happy. So we started a Patreon. So guys, if you would like to help us out, Mick, let's tell them about the Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon. There's 2 different tier levels. They're very simple tier levels. The first one, less than a cup of coffee. You can see it right there on your screen, the Real Smoke Cut and Light crew. And the big kicker to this one is, I say it every week, 15% off Cigar Vault whenever. So you buy a few cigars a month, it's going to pay for itself. 1 sticker pack, shout out on Instagram, name on the show credits, members only Discord. You can get to ask guest questions and a sneak peek at upcoming guests. And then for double that right there on your screen, which is still dirt cheap, less than that Happy Meal, Real Smoke Inner Circle. Everything we talked about from before, including the 15%. Enter to win a quarterly prize pack, ability to tender a monthly Zoom herf, and the ability to talk with and ask questions on those Zoom herf. So, it's pretty exciting. Hasn't really taken off yet. Like I say it every week, we're not looking to make money. We're not looking to, stash money. We're looking to break even and
not
keep
get
enjoying time
divorced.
with you guys and not get divorced yet. So just we're paying for cigars, we're paying for, and everything goes back to you guys. The prizes on this show and our Instagram giveaways, stuff like that. Everything comes from them contributions. So thanks to everybody that's on that.
And lastly, check this out. This is the 2026 Female Domination Month. Last week, if you caught that episode, we had Sarah Rodriguez with West Tampa Tobacco. Of course, you guys are on here tonight for Amanda. Next week, we have Marianne Eves with Forbidden. She is also the first female master distiller since Prohibition in the state of Kentucky. And then we got Karen Berger, one of the top leading ladies in the cigar industry. So come hang out with us. If you're just joining us for the first time and you want to get to know more about these ladies in this industry, come hang out with us all month. We're doing this all month. And, we're excited about it. We hope you guys get excited about it. So yeah.
Let me throw in the middle there, just so everybody knows, Marianne is actually on Tuesday next week because somebody
Tuesday, yes.
This guy, me, actually scheduled Michael Herklotz for Thursday. So just letting you know, next week's Woman for Women's Domination Month is on Tuesday.
And Michael was kind of like, am I supposed to be on here this month? So yeah,
I said it was.
He thought we were trying to give him an identity crisis.
Yeah, I fudged that one up, but here we are.
And he did talk about a giveaway tonight, guys. If you do type in the comments #RealSmoke, you will be entered in to win one of 2 $25 gift cards to the Cigar Vault in Oakdale. We are in a kind of a new month. There's only a few people that's been drawn. But if you type in the comments #RealSmoke from Facebook, or let's see, do we have anybody on Instagram? No, Facebook or YouTube or Rumble, you will be entered in a chance to win. So we do have a cigar that I'm currently smoking it right now. I think you are as well. We do have a cigar that we reviewed that we're enjoying. Before we go over to that one, our cigar is brought to you by 13 Knives.
Hey guys, this is Robert over at 13 Knives, and I'm visiting one of my Hey, this is Robert over at 13 Knives. I'm at my local B&M, smoking a fine cigar. I want to show you some things over here in their display rack. Oh, look at there. There's some badass bulldog cutters right there. All made in the United States of America with 1095 high carbon steel. And I don't know if you noticed, there's a few other things over there that I do. Some cigar holders. Those are all pretty badass. They're all for sale. Hit me up if you want to buy something. Go to my website. Go to my socials. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting Real Smoke Podcast. Go to your local brick and mortar. Go buy a cigar. Enjoy. Smoke what you want. Enjoy it. Peace out.
Thanks, Robert, for being there and always supporting us. We absolutely love what you do, and we enjoy that, or love that you're a part of the TriStar Herf crew. Tonight, Mick, what are we enjoying?
Tonight, we're smoking the American Viking Cigar Company Unkillable. The wrapper, Habano, Jalapa, Maduro, Nicaragua, binder, Esteli, Nicaragua, filler, Condega, Esteli, Jalapa, Nicaragua, Ometempe. Price is right there on your screen. And again, that's brought to you by 13 Knives.
Awesome. You're getting so good at these. Congratulations.
Proud of you.
Everybody should be giving you this. In the chat right now. In the chat right now, everybody give him one of these. All right, so it's time to bring on our guest, and we do have one more person to thank for that one. Guys, got to help us with our sponsors. Destination Cigar Lounge.
Step into the world of cigars like never before at Destination Cigar Lounge, home of the exclusive Allegory cigar brand. Whether you're kicking back at Governor's Crossing in Sevierville, Tennessee, or soaking up the rich aroma at Almost Havana in Hurricane, West Virginia, every visit is an adventure. From top-tiered cigars to expert recommendations and a laid-back atmosphere, it's the perfect place to relax, connect, and enjoy the craft. If you are looking for bold and unforgettable flavors, escape to the world of Allegory cigars. Kick back with the rich Mexican San Andres Dividend. Enjoy the smooth intrigue of the censored Sumatra, or fire up the bold and flavorful Escape Habano. For more information, you can follow them on Instagram at destination_cigars, or you can explore more by visiting them online at destinationcigarlounge.com, or take a journey to one of their 3 locations in West Virginia and Tennessee. No matter where your cigar journey takes you, every blend is an experience worth savoring. Where the road ends, the perfect smoke begins at Destination Cigar Lounge.
And let's welcome to the screen Miss Amanda Bryant, Miss Moonshine Queen herself. What's up, lady?
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm just banging shit. Sorry. Off to a great
She's
start.
tearing down the house. She's tearing down the house.
Love it. Thanks for joining us. I know it fell through a little bit last year, and things get busy for all of us. But I'm so glad we could actually make it work this year. I mean, you've had a pretty big couple of years here, and we're excited to see what's in your future and backtrack like we always say and see where you started. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show. I know you were in my neck of the woods not too long ago, literally right down the road. But where are you now? I heard you had to travel a few hours. Where'd you end up?
Yeah, I drove from Newport to Dahlonega, Georgia. So that's where we do my classes from. And I have one early tomorrow morning. So had to drive in here, make sure I'm here, because without me, there's no one to teach a class.
That's awesome. So I've been watching you. I'm just going to say, I've been watching you do all the classes and stuff like this. And that is something I seriously need to get involved with and come and do one, because they look fun, but they would let me geek out on something. I mean,
yeah,
we both
they are
love,
really fun.
Both of us are so much the same on that shit. Like we need to know more. If there's something we enjoy, we constantly need to be learning. And we've been that way with cigars, bourbon. I mean, pretty much anything I've touched my whole life. Like I need to know how it works and how it's made or whatever. But before we go too far off track, I did want to ask you too. The one thing I saw when I was kind of doing a little research was that you're originally from Pennsylvania. Not sure you still live there. I'm originally from Pennsylvania as well. Where did you? And we can talk about where you grew up, obviously. But where did you mainly live when you were in Pennsylvania?
So yeah, I do still live in Pennsylvania. I live in the Poconos right now, but I'm originally from Philadelphia.
Okay, I was about an hour north of Harrisburg. I was like dead center of the state between Philly and Pittsburgh. So. Yeah.
Yay, man. I love it.
Yep. 40 plus years of living there. And then my job brought me to Tennessee. And I got to say, I do love Tennessee as well. So, I mean, but Pennsylvania will probably always be home. I just hate winter there. I hate winter. So it is what it is.
It's rough some winters. I do love Tennessee as well. I get blessed to be able to work there. So I can travel back and forth and I get to, experience the best of both worlds.
Very cool.
Well, looking in the chats right now, we have a lot of people when the Destination Cigar Lounge came up. People started talking about where they're from. We have West Virginia in here. We have Bluntville, Tennessee. Mick and I we like to say we are I-40 apart from each other. Literally, I am the last stop before you get into North Carolina. He is the last stop before you get into Arkansas. So we are literally on the polar opposites. We are 7.5 to 8 hours apart, still in the same state. So, yeah. Don't know anything about Pennsylvania. Haven't been there. Neither one of us are volunteer fans.
No, it's the volunteer state. It's the volunteer state. That's what I meant.
I get that.
My bad.
So Mick already started talking about Pennsylvania and where you live. So let's go ahead and travel with that. Let us know where you grew up. Let us know what it was like growing up where you lived, and what was a young Amanda like when she was a
Wow,
young,
yeah.
when she was a child.
That's weird. I don't know that anybody's ever heard any of this. So, this is wild. I
Breaking
was born
news.
in Philadelphia, I grew up in Port Richmond. So we're like right on the Delaware River there in North Philly. I was a good kid, straight A student. Like I got hundreds, distinguished honors, presidential
I think she froze.
I think
I thought it was me. I thought it was
so
me.
we are. See, I thought it was me. I thought it was the Newport, Tennessee stuff. So Amanda is frozen for just a few minutes. We will give her some time to get back on here. I'm going to cut it down to just two of us real quick. Amanda, if you can still hear us, when you get back in there, go ahead and just wave, and I will put you back on screen. But oh wait, I got to put this one on here. Beaufort, South Carolina, or as my wife likes to call it, because she loves the name. She calls it Beaufort. She calls it Beaufort, South Carolina. But Beaufort, South Carolina, love that. Spend my anniversaries every June in Charleston and Beaufort. Absolutely love it. It says thaw her out. Got it.
We're trying.
We got a lot of people on here from different places. From Virginia, next door to good old Franklin County, Virginia.
Okay.
Let's see. Wait a second.
She's
super
back.
sorry.
The
internet went down here. My bad.
Amanda's back.
I think we're sharing internet with some other people in this house right now. So I lost service. I apologize.
To stop gaming. We're good. I'm just kidding.
Tell them to quit playing on Netflix. You're busy.
I don't know what's going on.
No, it's fun. So you said you were obviously a distinguished student and straight A's and everything, which is something I have no idea what that looks like, to be honest with you. I was like a straight C student pretty much all of my career. But no, that makes sense, though, because of the field, obviously, you got into. But at the time, I'm sure it was more just about learning and knowledge and whatever. But did you play any sports growing up or anything? I always like to ask Al.
Yeah, my grandfather was a women's basketball coach, and he won state champions. So growing up, he trained me. He put up a basketball hoop in the road outside of his house, and I'm tall. I'm about 6 feet tall. So he was like, "You are going to be a basketball player." And he put a 3-line point on the ground. He sprayed it where where 3-point shot was. And he made me just practice doing 3-point shots. So I was pretty good at basketball. In high school, I played basketball for a little bit. And I did volleyball, but that's just in high school.
Nice. So
I'm competitive. I enjoyed it.
Okay. So going in through high school, what were some of the things outside of school and things like that you were into, whether it was in grade school, high school, growing up? What were the things that you were into?
Yeah, I was probably like a weird kid. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was a nerd. Everybody made fun of me a lot, and I was just like a nerdy little kid. My dad was I had the best dad. He got me into an art school. So, Mick, I don't know if you're familiar with Fleischer's. And if in Philadelphia, Fleischer's is the art museums, the Philadelphia Art Museum's art school for like elementary and high school age students before college. And it's a weekend school. It's pretty hard to get into or expensive. And he did not have a lot of money, but he made sure that I was enrolled in Fleischer's. My aunt was also an instructor there, so that helped me get in. And I basically just went to school every day. I went to regular school, and then I went to art school on the weekends, and I did like charcoal drawings. We drew skeletons, and I painted. And this is going to sound really nerdy, but they put me in the 90s. There was something called the mentally gifted program, where they would like test your IQ, and then they would claim that, okay, this person is mentally gifted. But what wound up happening was they would put you on a short bus, and they would make you go to a special school where you were in a special class with other people. And like, it was like the stupidest thing ever, because I would literally have to ride on a short bus to a different school where other people we're like, yeah, these are the dorky smart kids that come in on the short bus, so that was like what my elementary school was like. But we had excellent teachers that did those programs. Some of the best teachers ever. That was my childhood. I loved art, painting, drawing, going to art museums, and I loved science, right? So I was really good at science, and my dad would take me to all different kinds of science museums and art museums. It was kind of like what we did together. He just knew what my interests were, so we always kind of did that kind of stuff.
So when I brought it up to Mick that we got you on for this year, I saw that he went and watched a live that you were doing, and you were, when you just said science, Mick and I are very ADHD, OCD. We will geek out on the littlest
100%.
of things. I went to bed early that morning or that night, and I woke up to a message. I kid you not, this long, of him talking about yeast strains and everything, and he geeked out on that one. Because he's a beer guy. I'm a whiskey guy.
I brewed beer. Yeah.
Okay.
I brewed beer
Awesome.
for a couple of years in Pennsylvania, and it started kind of going somewhere. And then I moved away, and one guy got divorced, and another guy moved away, and so we ended up selling our equipment. But anyway, I still have a love for brewing and the science behind it. So when I started, I don't do a lot of research for these shows. I make a couple keynotes of things that I want to ask and don't want to forget to ask. But I kind of, like I told you in the green room, I want to let the show kind of talk, kind of speak for itself and go whichever direction it goes. But that being said, I started watching one of the videos because it popped up on my Instagram, on my YouTube, that you were talking about those yeast strains. What a show that was. Like, I was like, that guy, I can't remember his name, that was on the show with you, that he's like the mad genius that, like, he was showing strains of yeast and all kinds of he's unbelievable. Like, he knows so much.
That was Michael Dombrowski, and I call him a master yeast terrier. He's also a distiller. And then my friend Wayne, who the host of the show, is a still builder, and he's also an excellent distiller. So that's the kind of content that I make, where I just nerd out. And I have ADHD, like you guys say. I'm like obsessive compulsive about things. I hyperfixate on stuff. And the group of my friends that I keep nowadays, we just like get together and just go down rabbit holes about really nerdy science stuff. And sometimes I have to remind myself, like, reel it in, Amanda, because not everybody is as excited to talk about things like yeast strains as you are, but we have fun.
I did get lucky when we moved down here. We met friends that are also they're home brewers, and they love the craft beer world, and they love finding the next great thing. And we constantly nerd out over beer and stuff like that. And it's something we connect on, and we got super lucky when we moved down here, because I moved away from my friends that tolerated me talking about that shit all the time. So now that we moved down here, we actually met somebody that's as much into it as we are. So it's pretty cool. But I know what you mean. It's when you find something you love and it really intrigues you and interests you, there's no stopping it. What lengths I'll go to find out more information on it. So that's really cool.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah.
See, that's like my
cool.
wife and I, we are really big into, I grew up in Kentucky a lot, and I fell in love with the bourbon industry. We go to Kentucky and spend days up there just touring distilleries that we've toured 12 times before, that we could tell you what the mash bill of that distillery uses, because we like to hear the people talk about it. And we end up going through those rabbit holes as well. And what really got me into it was history. What really got me into, into following you wasn't the show that you're on. We'll talk about that. It was when I ran across you. I forgot what I was doing, but you started talking about moonshine and started, talking about that process, and knowing that, where did whiskey start? It was the moonshine. And it was like, this is what I like. So that took me down my rabbit hole. So let's go back into it. After high school, where did you go?
Oh, okay. So this is where my story just derails from probably everyone you've ever interviewed, because my life becomes very unconventional, even during high school. My dad passed away when I was young, and that period of my life as a teenager, even like into my early 20s, we struggled through a lot of hardships. And I actually dropped out of high school twice. I had to drop out once. I started working I still attended school, but I was missing so many days of school that even with distinguished honors, they unenrolled me. If you're 18 years old and my senior year of high school, if you're 18 years old and you miss so many days a semester,
And episode
Ruh-roh.
68, just like no,
Amanda, if you can still hear us, we will jump back into this in just a second. We'll let you go ahead and reconnect. By the way, go tell whoever is playing on their Xbox or whatever, or their PlayStation. Wait, I think she's back. Here we go.
I'm back.
Yes.
It says we were connected the whole time, so I apologize. I don't know what's going on.
It's all right. It's been me before.
so-
You're good. You're good.
It's usually
Hello.
me every week, so you're great.
So sorry about that. I hate when things are screwed up on my account.
All right. So where we left off was I think the last thing you said was, even though you have high honors in school, if you miss so many days, they
Yes.
unenroll you.
Correct. Yeah. Even if you don't want to be unenrolled, they will unenroll you due to attendance. If you're 17 and you miss that many days, then you're delinquent and they'll come after your parents. If you're just about to be 18 or you're 18, they can just, boom, unenroll you. They'll warn you and then they unenroll you. So when I was 18 and then turned 19, I actually re-enrolled again and I went back to attempt to graduate again because I never imagined that I would drop out of high school. And then if anyone is watching who's young and is thinking about going to college or in high school, I really highly recommend that you stick to your grades and you graduate and you go to college, because you do not want to work in the school of hard knocks like I did. I think it distinguishes, it gives you character, but it wasn't an easy journey for me growing up. I became a roofer basically right out of, like, in high school. When I was 17 years old, I started roofing. And I wasn't proud of that. I really planned on continuing my education and doing something great with my life. And I felt like I was never going to be able to achieve that at that time. In my, teens, 19, 20, my early 20s, I just went to work every day, came home exhausted, and felt like I had failed at something, right? I was working hard and I took pride in my work because it's like one of the things you can do. Like, you can put food on the table, you can put a roof over someone's head. So that is like something that I was always proud of that I did. And I loved roofing. It was a great job. It paid well from a young person who was, didn't have a college degree. I also got into the restaurant industry, me and my sister both. So during the day, I would work at a fine dining restaurant with my sister. And then, during the day I would roof. And then at 4:00, I would go to the restaurant and do the night shift at the restaurant, bartending. I started as a busser, then I was a server and a bartender, and eventually I was like an assistant manager at a restaurant near where we lived. So I cut my teeth in the restaurant industry and the hospitality and bartending and cocktails and spirits. My customers used to laugh because they would say that I came to work and I dress up nice in the bathroom at work, but I would still have gravel in my hair from ripping shingles all day. But it was just a way for a young person to have security. You're taking care of yourself and other people, to have multiple sources of income. It just made me feel stable. So I worked really hard, and eventually I had 3 jobs for quite a bit of time. So that's my teens into my early 20s.
So let me ask you, so the roofing, I mean, that's not typically a female job either. And I mean, obviously, yeah. I'm sure you had some guns on you after that.
Yes.
Because you have to, carrying 70 pounds of shingles up. So it kind of seems to be your MO. Am I frozen? Gosh dang it.
I think so. Yeah, but I'm still okay. I was
about to say,
proud,
we can still hear you.
Yeah,
oh,
I can hear you.
All right, I guess I'm out and back in. I'll see you guys in a minute.
Okay. Dang, we're just striking out today.
All right, so I guess what he's getting at is, one, as he said, it's not something you would typically think for a female to get into. My question was, how did you land a roofing job? Did you know
That's
somebody in that, or was it something that you were like, hey, I want to do that?
So I'm trying to remember when exactly, but for a period of time, I lived with one of my best friends, and she was adopted by her uncle. And I lived at the house with her and her aunt and her uncle. and her uncle owned a roofing company, ABC Roofing, and he knew I needed work and was out of school. So I didn't have a vehicle. We live in the Poconos, so it's not like there's no bus or transportation. And he said, listen, I'll give you a job. I can take you to work and bring you home. I can give you a paycheck. He hired me to do landscaping and clean up on the job site. So maybe not even an entire week that I worked for him, but the first week I worked, he pulled me into the side. We had lunch together, and he's like, listen, I'll be honest with you. You are just outworked every person here, all of my guys, and my son, including you're outworking my son. He said, so I don't feel like I can pay you $10 an hour. Do you think you feel comfortable getting on a roof? I can pay you $20 an hour. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll get on a roof. And he's like, do you think, we'll show you what to do. And if you're comfortable doing it, I'd rather pay you as a roofer, as one of like the roofers. So that not even 1 week into it, I started doing that. And they taught me how to rip shingles and lay shingles. And that's what I did very quickly. I think that's been my work ethic my whole life. Like my dad instilled that in me as a child. He used to say, and I didn't know what he meant when I was little, but he used to say, I don't care if you're shoveling elephant shit, you'd be the best damn shit shoveler. When I got older, I realized, and I applied that to everything, right? But as I got older and I started working, it just was like second nature to me. Like I just was like, we just be the hardest worker in the room. That's like the secret to life, is be the hardest worker in the room. Young people ask me for like advice in the distilling industry, and the best advice I can give them, it's hard to be the best at things sometimes, because there's always going to be somebody who might be better than you. But in your room, or in the group, in the circle that you're in, all you have to do is work the hardest. And eventually you will become the best. And people notice that. People see that and they're like, well, damn, that person walks with purpose, A chef friend of mine actually said one day, as we were training new staff, and I walked past and he said, see that girl? That is called walking with purpose. He said, if you want to be good at this job, you have to walk with purpose. And I was like, that's the nicest compliment anybody's ever given me. I'll never forget that. And that always stuck in the back of my head, that I was like, yeah, I guess I do walk with purpose. They say in the restaurant industry, you go in and out of the kitchen. You never go in and out with your hands empty. So like if you're going in the kitchen, bring something. If you're leaving the kitchen, you're doing something. You got to make the best use of your time. But I've always, right off the bat, I've always been in a male-dominated industry, and that gave me a great sense of pride. The very first week of work when I was landscaping, there was another woman there who was older. And when I saw her, I was like, this is so cool. You're like a chick doing this. She was cleaning and doing leaves and raking and leaf blowing. And I'll never forget her. Her name was Lisa. She's passed away since. But she became like a great friend to me. And I knew her for years, even after I stopped working with her. But right off the bat, I came in and I was like, it was never like a male dominated field to me, even though it was, because there was a woman there like on my first day. So it was just kind of always normal to me. And I always work harder than the guys too. So again, it never felt like I was in a male dominated field, because it was like something that I was always dominating, I guess, in a way. Wow, that sounds cocky, but
no, I mean, listen, if you can back it up, back it up.
Hell yeah.
With roofing, yeah, that was an easy job.
So how long did you do that? You were roofing in the day, working at a restaurant at night. You said you did landscaping as well. So how long did you go in between these jobs?
I worked steadily in the restaurant industry from the time I started, because it's one of the few jobs or the industries where if you know how to do it and you do it well, you can actually make a much higher hourly wage than people that have, a 4-year college degree or have really like high up careers. There were people that were managers and owners of businesses that were working in the restaurant industry with me because of the money that we were able to make in fine dining. And I did that steadily, and I stopped roofing about 2 years ago. There was a period of time where I did some stonework with my fiance, and he was a stonemason for a long time. So I helped him do that. And I really enjoyed that, because that was like another form of art, putting together like old school dry stack fire pits and paver patios. And we would do like cover the whole houses with stone facade. I was really good at that. And I enjoyed that, because I felt like it was like doing art. But 2 years ago, I injured my back. And I think it was when I started filming the Moonshiner show, I started roofing less. And what happened was the core muscles that I had developed from carrying weight for so many years kind of started to deteriorate. And then when I went back to roofing again, I hurt myself. And the last roofing job I did was about 2 years ago. But after that, I have like a chronic back condition now, which I see a chiropractors for, and I'm pretty okay for the most part, but I just can't go back to roofing anymore. Like if a friend of mine was like, do you want to roof tomorrow? I would be like, heck yeah, because I literally love doing it. But I have to be careful. Then I can't be lifting stuff anymore, which is a really hard thing for me. I don't like to ask for help, and I have a hard time watching other people work or do hard work, and to refrain and actually not stop other people. Normally I'm like, let me get that for you. Like that's me. So I'm trying to teach myself to just be careful, because it's not worth it to be a tough guy.
Yeah, super interesting that you love roofing that much. I worked in the housing industry for years, and I was around a lot of roofers, and I helped with quite a few jobs. And I enjoyed the finished product, and making everything watertight. And it's just such a cool process. But I don't know that I ever loved it. It sounds like you were actually passionate about it when you did it, which is cool, and it's run right.
Yeah. I think anything that you do for a living, you have to be good at it and take pride in your work, or else you might as well just not do it.
See, I think it has a lot to do with you in art. Roofing. See, I did a lot of cabinets and countertops, made custom cabinets and countertops for houses around here while I was starting my business. And I'm one of these people that I love a process. I love knowing A, B, and C has to get done, but then I love being able to look at the result. And you were somebody who were you were passionate about art. You got to go through the process of creating, and then you got to see the results.
Yeah.
I would say stonework and roofing is the same way. You've got an A, B, and C process, and then you get to step back and look and go, I did that. So, in one aspect, listening to it and going, how can anybody love roofing? But then the other aspect is like, you get to stand back at the end of the day and go, I did that.
Yeah, absolutely. I still drive past houses I put a roof on. We drive past houses where we've done the stonework on the outside, and I get a sense of pride. Like, look how good that looks. And, it looks good. And some of them are the best houses on the block. The ones that we've done the stonework on, they just stand out and they look amazing. And it's definitely a sense of pride. It's work with your hands. It's a job where you can get a free workout. You don't got to go to the gym. You can get a free suntan. You take a nice break at lunch. You get a hot meal most of the time, because I always had a really good boss. My last roofing boss was one of my best friends, Jeff, and we would always stop, take a full break, get a great meal in, And I had other jobs where I didn't always get a nice meal or a lunch break. So I was like, this is like a cake job. I get done by 4 o'clock every day, and I had the weekends off from roofing. So you can't beat that.
You were talking about you still drive by houses. In my industry that I'm in during my day job, I was working with some students, and I remember signing up this one student, and as I was taking down their address, I stopped and I remember the address, and I asked the guy, I said, does your house look like this? And he was like, yeah, we just moved in there. I said, what do you think about your kitchen cabinets and countertops? And he's like, huh? I said, what do you think about your kitchen cabinets and countertops? And he's like, they're great. That was a selling feature. That's why we bought the house. I said, you're welcome. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, I built those. And he's like, really? I said, yeah, that's what I used to do. But it was coming back into finding out that after, I think it was 15 years, come to find out that the house still had, the work that I had done in it. So that was pretty cool. Oh no. Did it happen again?
It must be really cold there. You get my joke? She's freezing.
She's frozen.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll do this once again while she gets back on here. We do have a lot of people. We did have somebody from Tennessee jump on here. He says, hello from East Tennessee. It's Bristol, baby. 100%. I am about an hour and a half south of you. I'm over in Newport, Tennessee. So what's up, Chad Long? Let's see. I think y'all changed your clocks. Yeah. No.
We did.
I'm late, but I'm here for it. Hey, Smoking Solstice, he is our brother from over in New Zealand. So what's up, bro? All right, she is back like Shady. Here we go. There we go. Welcome back.
Yes, thank you. I didn't lose internet that time, so I guess it's just my luck.
We'll take a break, just like you just talked about having a good lunch break. We'll take a break every 5 minutes or so. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's all good. We all deserve
So
a break.
for all the viewers watching who are cursing because we keep getting messed up, those are intentional breaks so that you can run to the bathroom at home.
Yes, we're doing
It's
this
perfect.
for your comfort.
We're thinking
Absolutely.
about you.
It's all scheduled. We got this.
All right. So you said you were working up to 2 years ago. So how does going from restaurant work, roofing, and landscaping bring you into moonshine?
Right. So
How does that happen?
I would say I found distilling, but I think distilling found me at a time where I really needed it. And from the moment I saw it, I was captivated. And I was just like, I need to know everything. And you guys talked about that before. Like, I helped out on my American Legion. And some of the guys, the veterans there, became my best friends and my close group of friends outside of roofing. And on the weekends, we would get together and we would have bonfires and cookouts. And our Legion commander, Neil, lived across the street from my house. He was my best friend and for a long time. And one day he pulled this little like Vever, which we call it like a Betty Crocker still or like a little pressure cooker still, and threw it on the counter. And it was like a surprise. I didn't even know he was going to do it. And he's like, we're going to make some moonshine today. And my mind in that moment, right, to see him do this, because I was there all day, I'm there all the time, but to see him just pop this out of nowhere, I was like mind blown, literally the definition of mind blown. And I was just a million questions. Where'd you come up with this? How'd you put this together? Where'd you get this idea? How did you make this? How are we going to make alcohol right now? My mind was just going so fast. I couldn't even process the amount of questions that I was like, I needed to understand everything. And they just kind of laughed and they're like, Amanda, like, we don't know. We just saw this like online. We're just doing this for fun. Just like calm down. We're like, I don't know how to answer your questions. And one of my friends that was there that day, Big Bill, 10-4, if he is watching or his wife watches this at any later point, he was kind enough to go and buy me a book. My friends knew at that time. So to give you some perspective of what my life was like at that time, I was going to work, coming home. I would like clean and cook dinner, and I would hang out with these guys for a little bit throughout the week. And I had no cell phone, no social media, no computer, and I read books. I like to read. So Bill went online and ordered this book for me, and 2 days later, knocks on my door, surprise, shows up at my house. He's like, hey, I saw how interested you were when we pulled out that still, so I got you this book. And I was like, oh my God, that was so thoughtful. Like, thank you. I couldn't believe he was just had the thought to do that. And it was called Alaskan Bootlegger's Bible. And that was it. He literally like handed it to me. I think he wrote in the cover of it, like, good luck, Big Bill, 10-4, love you. And he walked away and left my house. Like, that was it. And I opened the book and boom, as soon as I cracked it, I didn't put it down. I read it in maybe a day and a half. And then I called the guys and I was like, hey, listen, guys, we got to like assemble the crew, like everybody meet in the garage. And I was like, we're doing everything wrong. I got all these ideas. We need to like fix the still. We got to make all these adjustments. We need a thumper. We need, we're doing the mash wrong. We got to do it. So it became like our ritual. And
That's
those
amazing.
guys, supported me. And every week I would learn. That's just where it began. I knew just enough to be dangerous at that time. And I got all of the literature I could get my hands on. I still did not have a computer or social media. And I just got books and I read distilling books, and I would go to bookstores and I would look for old books on distilling because I didn't go to college, right? So when I dropped out of high school, it's a big thing is I never went to college. I never continued my education, and I began to learn how to distill. And what I learned was there's a ton of science and history, and you can endlessly educate yourself on the topic of distilling. If you really want, you can become an expert at anything if you just apply yourself and put some time to it. And I don't consider myself an expert. I don't consider myself a master distiller, whereas, people throw titles around or give people titles. Some people could call me a master distiller. I appreciate that, but I don't consider myself a master distiller. But I would consider myself a lifelong student of the craft. So I believe that you could spend your entire life applied at educating yourself on this craft, and there are limitless techniques and pieces of history and regional spirits and techniques and things that you could never learn everything there is to learn in this craft.
What year was that you found that interest, when you started actually, like, just trying to put timeline together for now?
That's a great question. In my early 20s. Okay. I don't know exactly what year, but it was like maybe 23, 24, somewhere around that time.
And the learning's never stopped since then, apparently. I mean, it's just, that's I know that's what we said. It's amazing how much we have in common on stuff like that. Cause once we find something, we're in there and we want to know more about it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Those guys gave me like a place to distill, and they encouraged me, and they called me the professor. So it became like I would learn new things every week, and I couldn't wait to then go and apply those things. Recipes, experiments that I would do where I would make a fermentation and I would make 3 of them, and we would just change like the type of sugar or the type of yeast in each one, and then just see what happened, right? And then I would learn what was the difference in the yeasts, or what different types of sugar, how that affected flavor and alcohol content. And I would meticulously record everything. I have some books that I wrote notes in when I was learning how to distill, and I go back and I look at them now, and I teach my students to record like that, because it helped me to gather really solid understanding and then have something to look back on to compare it to. Like every run, I recorded every detail, what temperature the still was running at, when that changed, how long it took to, distill volume of a quart at a time, how many minutes, when we made cuts and everything. And then I could go back and compare 20 different runs together, and I would learn something. And you have like a record, right? You meticulously record everything. Then even if you forget, you have it recorded somewhere, right? Recipes and everything. There's just, it's just how I learned through experimentation. And I did learn distilling in an unconventional way. I am a self-taught distiller. So through reading, experimentation, I gained a unique perspective on the craft of distilling, maybe different than some people who have a formal education, or who went to college and have some kind of a degree. Even people who began working in the distilling industry without the college education, when they're trained up from the beginning and they're in that industry. I've friends with lots of people, but I somehow like think outside the box in a way, because I distilled by myself, not knowing any other people in the industry or distillers or moonshiners or anything like that for years, like a very long time. I was just in my own little bubble, loving what I was doing and, doing it to the fullest. And I think distilling became my way of educating myself, and it made me feel fulfilled when that was a big thing that I was lacking in my life. And I was being really hard on myself because I didn't go to college. I didn't continue my education, and I wasn't achieving anything, and I wasn't doing anything really creative. But it became my art form, a sense of community, and how I was educating myself, essentially. And it was just something that I couldn't stop at that point.
So I'm going to, before I ask my next question, I'm going to say, hey, there are a lot of people chiming in. If you notice, I keep, as somebody who is ADHD, I see your eyes glancing down. I don't mean to get you off track, but I do want to let everybody in the chat know that, hey, we do see where your comments are. Yes. And we're putting them up there. So thanks, guys. Keep commenting. There's so many of them on here. Do us a favor, guys. If you are on Instagram or you are on YouTube, go give us a follow. I know there's a lot of people there. We have quite a few people on the Real Smoke socials in here right now, but we do have a crap ton that's on your socials that are on here right now. So guys, if you don't care, run over to our socials, give us a follow. Even if you got to dip out for just a second and miss some of the fun, come right back, but give us a follow. So
and thank you for everybody that's in the chat commenting and asking questions and for watching. I appreciate your support as always, because wouldn't be here if it weren't for all of you guys and girls.
100%. And what I love right now is somebody made the comment that they took one of your classes, and we're going to go into that here in a little bit. But now you have people in here posting class of 007, and then you have class of 008. So
I
that
love
is
it.
so awesome to see that
So
one.
cool.
And
That is
people talking
Love you
incredible.
guys.
and then people saying that they're coming tomorrow to see you. So that is
Yes.
awesome, guys. Keep posting that stuff in there.
That's so cool.
So my question, I love the fact that you identify as nerding out on this stuff. So you go back to these guys that's in your crew, and it's like, we've got to do all of this different. We've got to do this and this and this. So in the first stages of you actually honing this craft, what were some of the things that you were like, holy crap, this is working? And what were some of the things that were like, I cannot figure out what's going wrong?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for me, I was driven by, I had an understanding early on that what you feed the yeast is the type of alcohol that you make. And again, this is something maybe different than people that are in the legal distilling industry, because home distilling or backwoods, moonshining, illicit distilling, we're using quite a good amount of sugar. And it's for a good reason, because most of the time our equipment is with direct heat. We're using direct heat with propane, flame, or an electrical element. So we can't have as thick of a mash. You can, but it's something that you have to practice at making, which is why I teach that in my classes. But the necessity of using sugar is a big part of what we do for home distillation, because it contributes fermentability and gives you volume that is liquid, essentially. There's no solids in the fermentable sugar once it's dissolved in water. So for me, I was always chasing flavor and trying to figure out how to improve the flavor and quality of my spirit, make it taste more like corn, make it taste more like wheat. How do I make it taste more like apples? And I think I was manually, monitoring distillation and reflux and fermentation on such a micro level that I was able to study it. Like my hobby was just distilling experimentation, and trying to see what different things like cane sugar, brown sugar, molasses, right? If I use all three of those, how does that impact the flavor of a spirit? How does that affect the fermentation of a spirit? And another thing that I did struggle with when I was learning distilling was making cuts and cleaning the still, right? So I always was obsessed with, I felt like I could taste, and if anybody's out there, this is interesting for my distilling people watching. Everybody asks this, how often do you clean the still? Well, I felt like I could always taste the still or the copper. It sounds crazy, but I have a really refined palate and I can taste lots of things. I can identify lots of different brands of whiskey and ingredients in something. And I'm sensitive to things. So I could always taste the still. And it can happen quite often with other people that ask me to taste their products. I'll taste the still very often. So I was cleaning my still after I distilled, and I was cleaning it before I would distill, just to make sure it was as clean as possible. But what I learned that I was doing is I was disturbing the seasoning. And your copper pot still is like a cast iron pot, where you don't take your cast iron pots and put Dawn dish soap and a scrubby pad in there, because you're going to remove all the good stuff. So when you disturb the seasoning in your copper, you then, on your next run, essentially you're stripping that back out, and you will taste it a little bit, maybe not a lot, and maybe not everybody would taste that, but that was something that I struggled with in the beginning. And then I read something that in Ireland they clean their stills twice a year, or sometimes maybe once a year. And I was like, wow, I'm going about this all wrong. So I stopped obsessively cleaning my equipment, because distillation, the heat sterilizes everything for you anyway. And most of the stuff that's on the inside is copper sulfate, the black stuff on your still. It's supposed to be there, so you don't need to scrub it out. And if you do, you're disturbing it, and you're going to taste it in your spirit. It was just a lot of trial and error things that I did not have a mentor to teach me these things, and I didn't have resources to call to ask questions when things went wrong. So I was really left to my own devices to kind of figure it out. And that's why my brain works like it does. Whenever there's an anomaly, I have to understand that anomaly and figure out. That alone is how you learn things. A lot of mistakes are the best learning experiences.
So in the whiskey world, when you go to a distillery tour, when they're talking about the mashes and things, that's where they come into sour mash versus a sweet mash. You know, some distilleries want to wipe out everything after every run, and some are like, just let it go. We'll wipe it out 2 or 3 times a year, but we want the flavors, we want the experiences from the mash, the previous mash, to be left in there. A little bit of the mash from before left in, so it just continues on with what we're brewing now or distilling now. So in the early days, when you were doing, you know, your runs, there has to be a couple memorable times. And I would think that one of them would be something that you thought was going to turn out really well, that when you
Yeah.
tasted it, it was like, oh God, no. And then there was
Yeah.
something that you was like, let's just try it. It's going to be okay. And you thought it was like really good. What were some of those runs?
Yeah. So really good. Like we have all made in the home distilling industry, we've all done like big things that we've made mistakes from, right? And for years, this is how I refined my craft, was through making mistakes. And I will ferment anything just about once. Let's just to try it once. I'll do anything. Mark and Digger from the show, they laugh and they're like, oh, Amanda will try it. Like, if anybody will try something crazy, Amanda will, because I just want to know, like, even if it doesn't sound possible or probable, I just would curious how would it ferment and what would that alcohol taste like? So I've experimented with guava. And I don't know if you know, like in the Spanish food section, they have like these bricks, and it's like gelatinized, like a brick of guava that you can melt down and dissolve in water, and it's solid. It's like refined, almost like molasses or sugar. So it's very concentrated sugar, and it's the concentrated pulp of that fruit. And then there's guava juice that you can buy. So I had always seen these like bricks in the store, and I'm like, that is like a solid brick of sugar. I bet that would ferment really well. And guava sounds good, right? Doesn't that sound like something that would taste good in a spirit or brandy? So I had to try it. So I bought guava puree, guava juice, like the organic stuff. And I bought a whole bunch of the bricks, and I melted them down, and I fermented guava. But what I discovered was that when it ferments, it smells like cat urine. And it's a strong odor. It smells very, very similar to cat piss. It's bad. I did distill it, and it didn't taste like that, but it was almost that I couldn't get that idea out of my head. It didn't smell like it anymore. And when you tasted the fermentation, the wash, it didn't taste like that. It just smelled like it. And sometimes a bad smell can just get in your head. And so that was the only time I ever experimented with that. I was very surprised that it turned out like that. I tried potatoes several times, and it was a season where it was lots of pollen in the Poconos, and I was cutting them up outside. My first experiment with potatoes went horribly wrong. It got a putrid infection. And I'm not talking a lactobacillus infection. Lactobacillus is like a standard, it's like an infection that is common on whiskey because it lives wherever wild yeast does. So on malted grain, we don't sterilize the malted grain because we would denature the enzymes that are in the malted grain. So we are essentially contributing most likely lactobacillus into most whiskey mashes that have malted grain in there. And it's a white infection that looks like the surface of the moon. So that's normal. And that can smell like lactic, right? Like rotten milk sometimes. That's why we call it lacto. But this infection was bad. Like it smelled like vomit. It didn't look like a lacto infection. It smelled so putrid that I just threw the first mash away. And I was determined to get it right. So I researched and I read and I'm like, well, what could have went wrong? I learned then that potatoes have a very, very alkaline or no acidity to them. So you have to adjust your pH with a potato, and you have to add a little bit of like a citric acid. Personally, for me, I like to do the natural option. So I use lemon and orange juice to adjust the pH and make it a little bit more acidic. And then that is supposed to help the fermentation. Well, for whatever reason, I still got a wicked infection. And it very well could have been that the first infection was still in that barrel, that it wasn't sterilized quite good enough. So the infection just came back. And it was like just not something that I was going to put my hands in and strain it. And it defeated me, right? Like I was like, that's it. I'm just done with potatoes. So people ask me like, what are things you hate to ferment? Number 1 is potatoes. Number 2 is bananas. A really common question is like, what's something I should stay away from? I always say bananas because they're really easy to get. Like if you go to your grocery store, most grocery stores will give you lots of bad bananas. It's something that they throw away large amounts of. So it's a waste food that's really easy to get, but they suck to mash in. They suck to ferment them. They suck to strain them. And generally speaking, the brandy from a banana does not taste very much like a banana unless it's artificially flavored somehow. If you're drinking banana anything, that is artificial flavoring. I'm sorry. Bananas suck. They just do. Sorry if anybody out there is like a huge banana fan, but personally, natural banana fermentation is just a nightmare. Try it once. I always tell everybody, like, don't listen to me. Like, take my advice if you want, but always try it once for yourself so that you can be like, okay, maybe I love this. Or you can be like, okay, she was right. Like, whatever. I just don't. It's been a nightmare for me, bananas.
Yeah, lactobacillus is commonly used in sour beers in the beer industry. And it can get away from you quickly if you don't know what you're doing with it. So I get that completely. So I guess so you're home distilling and you're learning all of this and you're pushing your limits on what you can learn and what you can do. When did that turn into something as of an opportunity to continue growth with that? Like where did you decide, hey, I think I could do something with this?
So I never had the courage in myself to do that. I never would have tried to do anything with it. I never imagined that I would be able to work in the legal distilling industry or that I could make that transition over, because in the reality of the distilling world, there is moonshine and then there is craft spirits, and they're very different worlds. They're two different groups of people. There's very little crossover there. Most people in the distilling industry, when they think of moonshine, they think of it as a lesser spirit.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a scheduled pee break for all of you with short bladders. So if you need to take a moment to go and take some time for yourself, go ahead and do that one. Really quickly, we do have a lot of people. Yeah, we do have a lot of people in the chats right now. Frank says, I fermented taro root through enzymes with pitch, my yeast. Okay. So now I'm distilling with coconut chunks and coconut water. So very cool. So let's jump back. Here we go. She's back. Thank you, everybody, for taking that moment to go and use the restroom. We appreciate it. Now we're back to our scheduled programming.
What was I saying? Oh, so this is something that I like to try to voice, is that because it's my industry, right? Craft distilling would not exist without hobby distilling or home distilling. And a lot of the people in the legal distilling industry look at home distilling, hobby distilling, or moonshining as a lesser form of distilling, something that is not up to quality standards because it's not regulated, right? Because we're not following rules and regulations. And that's not to say that because of that, some people do make a lesser quality spirit. But on the same hand, some people make an excellent quality spirit. And to compare that to the legal distilling industry, you can go to the liquor store and you can buy some pretty terrible bottles of liquor, and you can buy some really good ones. So there's good people on both sides of the industry. And for me, what moonshine is the definition of moonshine, right? So here's a heavily debated topic. What is moonshine? What is a moonshiner? The definition of moonshine is a spirit that is distilled outside of a legal distillery. People get confused about this too as well, because you can own a legal distillery, but that doesn't make you a legal distiller. That's not really a title, a legal distiller. You don't get a permit that says I can make alcohol wherever I want. A distilling permit is applied to a building. You submit blueprints of a building to the TTB and you say, these are the confines of my building. I want to bond this area. This is where my still is. Here's a picture of it. Here's the schematics of it. Come and check it out. It won't move from here. And I'm going to make this much alcohol. Here's my plan. This is what I plan on doing. And then you record everything you're doing. If at any time you break any of the many laws that the federal government has in place or the state, then you are essentially distilling outside of the realms of the law. The definition of moonshine is any alcohol made outside of a legal distillery upon which taxes are not paid. So the fact that it's untaxed is a big thing. And it's commonly clear, but not always, because you can post-distillation age or flavor moonshine. Some people think moonshine is just corn liquor. It's not. Moonshine would have been, historically speaking, whatever ingredients you had in the area where you were isolated at. So Southern America along the East Coast would have been rum because of the molasses trade. Central, like in the Middle East or the middle of America, and the South would have had predominantly corn in the Kentucky, Tennessee area, and up north they would have had rye whiskey. You were very isolated. You would bearing trees to produce brandy. So really, whatever you had access to, and distilling was never in America. Craft distilling, we call it craft distilling now, but home distillation was a common thing. It was part of every household in colonial times. Having a still, not every, maybe if you didn't have a still, your neighbor did, and you could go use theirs. But farm distillation was a part of being self-reliant, right? Like if you go and you hunt for your food or you grow your own crops and you make your own bread. Well, farmers relied on distillation on their property to preserve the grains that they couldn't sell, the fruit that was going bad. They were able to get more money for the product. A bushel of apples was worth a lot more as a bottle of brandy than the bushel of apples was worth. And it was easier to transport and store that. So home distillation has been a part of our history in America since the beginning. And moonshining is just, there has been moonshining for as long as there has been legal distilling. So there is a divide, definitely a divide in the industry, which is hard for a lot of people to get over that hurdle. And I was well aware of that. You can't walk into a distillery and say, hey, I make moonshine. I'm really good at it. Will you give me a job? Because most of the time they're going to laugh at you. I know people that are in the legal industry now and they're struggling to get recognized or to progress in the industry. They want promotions and they want more hands-on responsibilities. And a lot of my home distilling friends who are very good, they want to work in the legal industry, but it's difficult to make that hurdle. I was very blessed. I've said my whole life, like I've been putting pennies in the karma piggy bank, just an expression because things always went so wrong and I had such hardships in my younger years, some of which I put myself through, but a lot of which were of none of my own doing. But I've always said that I'm put pennies in the karma piggy bank and like eventually, right, one day, this has to pay off. Like something I'm doing eventually will go right. My dad always told me like work ethic was everything and would get me everywhere in life. And in my mid-20s and right before my 30s, I started to really actually question my values and my morals. And I started to see people who were just bad people, who were not good people, just bad to other people in general. They got ahead and I didn't. And I always wondered, like, is it true that like, do the right thing, always do the right thing, treat others as you want to be treated. I started to question, like, maybe that was not the best advice, but he was right. And I kept doing like the right thing, working hard, being a good person. And eventually it did pay off. And it wasn't even, I would have never done this leap on my own, but my friends from the Poconos, the guys from the Legion and my fiance, we were all just like this group of friends who were very supportive of me. They saw the Master Distiller show on the Discovery Channel and they said, you need to do this.
All right. So that's kind of where I'm going with my next question. A couple things really quickly, going to different distilleries and things. One of the things I always picked up was, back in like the founding of our country, it was a lot of farming going on. And the way that they would supplement their income is they would take whatever they were farming that was about to go bad and they would distill it into whatever. George Washington was one of the biggest, if not the biggest of his time, who had a whiskey distillery. And not a lot of people know that, where he lived at his time, he was the largest whiskey maker in our country. And then the other part was, I love the fact that you're carrying on that tradition of, you're finding out the things that maybe aren't working well to the things that are working well. You're finding out fruits and whatever that you can distill that are working to put out a good product. And you're also finding out, and letting people know, hey, this is a troublesome one. So that's pretty cool. So let's talk about the Moonshiners Master Distillers TV show.
Yeah.
How did you end up on there? You've been on there a few times.
Yes.
You've done very well on there. So let's talk about the process of how you got on there, what it was like meeting Mark Digger. You got to meet Tickle. You got to meet a lot of them on there. What was that process like?
So it's interesting how I got on. My friends basically were like, you need to do this. I, at that time, still did not have a cell phone. There was not a single photograph of me that existed. I wouldn't let anyone take a picture of me. I was so painfully shy. And my friend Neil had this casting call, right? And he just harassed me for the better part of almost 2 years. And they would put it on in the American Legion when we would sit at the bar. They would put on the Master Distiller show and we'd watch it. And there was a girl who came on, maybe the second season, I think. Her name was Mina Kilo Pratt. And I really admired her. She was like a botanist and she made absinthe and she just carried herself with such grace and did such a good job. And I watched the show because I loved it. It was like other people who did what I did. And it was the only way that I got to experience, to see other people that were doing what I was doing. And it was, when I saw her interview, she said that she had only been distilling for 1 year and that she was so proud of herself that she did so good. If she hadn't told me that, I never would have even thought that. And that gave me a little bit of courage. And then along with the harassment of my friend group, eventually one day I was at the American Legion bar, I think, I can't remember where, we were in the garage or at the bar. And I was just like, okay, fine. If I fill out this application, and it wasn't even an application, they asked for a photograph of you and answer 5 questions. Who you are, what you do, what is your experience like distilling, what do you do for a living, where are you from? It's a paragraph. So I was like, if I do this, well, you guys just like shut up. And they're like, yes, do it. So we took a picture of me. I answered the 5 questions and I used someone else's phone to submit it through email. I didn't even have an email. And I thought that would be the end of it. They could leave me alone and I would never hear back from Master Distiller. About 6 months went by and we're eating dinner and I get a call on the house phone from New York. And we didn't answer it. So we went back and checked the voicemail later. Or maybe it was on my fiance's cell phone. I can't remember, but there was a voicemail from someone in New York. And then I listened to it. He's like, you have to listen to this. This is crazy. This is the Master Distiller show is calling you. And I listened to the voicemail and I probably cried because I was so scared at the time. But I can remember just being like, oh no, this is awful, because I didn't think they were going to call me back. And I didn't think I would ever be able to get the courage to put myself on camera or do anything like that. It's very vigorous interviews that you go through, and it's a long process. You have to film, prove that you can speak on camera, prove that you can speak at least eloquently enough for them to be able to film you, have some kind of like a presence where maybe people like you, maybe people don't like you, and kind of just that you know what you're talking about. So I went through that whole process in the interview, and I remember the girl who interviewed me. She was so great, Jessica Pina. One time during like an in-depth, it was like a 2-hour-long interview. She was like, Amanda, stop for 1 minute. And I was like, okay, like what did I do wrong? And she's like, I want you to literally, she's like, do this. Take your hand and give herself a pat on the back. And I was like, what? And she's like, seriously, are you doing it? I want you to do it. She's like, because she's like, I mean, I can't say this. She's like, but you're going to come on Master Distiller. You are going to pass through this whole thing. And she's like, you're going to win. She's like, I just know it. I know it in my gut. And I was like, wow. And she's like, but give yourself a pat on the back. She's like, because you deserve it. She's like, everything you've done and everything you've built up to at this point, she's like, you deserve it. And I needed to hear that. And I think I always remembered that she said that, and I always remember her for that. Daniel, I saw my friend just popped in. He was also very nervous about his process when he was going on Master Distiller recently, and he called me and I gave him encouragement to just believe in himself, because that's what a lot of people, we can do so much if you just like, we have the capability of doing endless, limitless things if you just have enough courage in yourself to do it. Just do it. So I went through the process. I got on the show. I was shitting bricks. They put me on this is really funny. So this is a hilarious story. I was on a nut-infused spirit episode. And on all of my emails and correspondence, they knew that I made hazelnut infused alcohol, which I do. It's a traditional Polish spirit called orzechówka, where its translation is tincture of laden nuts. And there is no natural hazelnut spirit on the market. It's all artificially flavored, whether that be for a nut allergy or just the amount of money and time that it takes to make a true hazelnut spirit. It's not really efficient or practical in a large production scale, which is why I also love home distillation, because you can do so many things that you cannot do in the legal industry. You can really play with and experiment with and ingredients that would just be expensive or silly or wouldn't be practical, but you can do it just because you want to. But I did the nut infused spirit episode. They were calling it nut liquor. So in our emails, over the phone, all for about a month up until I arrived on set, and at which point they said, by the way, this is no longer going to be the nut liquor episode because we can't say that on Discovery Channel. We are calling this the nut infused spirit episode. So we all just started cracking up, right? Because I was ready to go. I had all these puns ready. And it's really difficult to talk about a nut infused spirit without sounding dirty. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, just speaking about it in general, I was talking about clarifying a nut infused spirit, and they're like, yeah, post distillation, post nut clarity. And I was like, oh my God, like, no, I didn't say that. But you can see where you can go bad with this. But it was a lot of laughs that we had.
How many outtakes were in that episode just because of the innuendos that were said versus, what got put on actual TV?
So we don't do like outtakes or anything. With Master Distiller, they just film us doing it, the distillation. And then what you're seeing is about 1 hour edited together, chopped up. You see one hour long episode, and that takes us 1 to 2 weeks to film. There's 1 full day to mash in. It's a long day. Then there's a 5-day fermentation period. And then we come back and we do the stripping run, which is another full day. Then we're judged on the stripping run, which is very nerve-wracking for anyone who is going on Master Distiller. The most nerve-wracking part is the waiting period after you've handed in your spirit and you're waiting to be judged. And for me, I was terrified. When I got on Master Distiller, I was terrified. Oh, to answer your question really quickly, they edit everything down so much so that they can remove whatever they want. And you just see a really small portion of all the work that is actually done. So it's not that we retake anything. We don't do that. We're just us, and we do what we do. And then if anything is terrible, they just don't show it.
I was more meaning how many times do you remember like something was said that you're like, I'm so glad that didn't make it on the air.
So in another episode of Master Distiller, I didn't say any. I know I'm very
How many episodes were you on?
That's a great question. So I was on the hazelnut episode, which I won. I was on a Thanksgiving special where we had to do like a Thanksgiving theme. I won that one. I was on the Master Distiller, the first Tournament of Champions, which was a 3-part, and I made it. I went through the first round, I got into the second round, and then I was eliminated because we had to actually hide. Like, we had 30 minutes to go through the woods in the rain.
That was the one where you had to hide everything, right?
Yeah, we had to bury or hide our liquor or camouflage individual jars, and whatever was not found, we were able then to redistill on a spirit run. And I wound up having about 3 jars, and it wasn't even like the good cuts. It was like bad portions of my run. So I knew going back into that run that I was not going to be able to have a successful run, and I was eliminated. So that is 4. And then there was a spring episode that I was on, which I almost won, but I used a honeysuckle extract at the very end. And it was not something that I had practiced before. And my number one rule for Master Distiller is don't experiment. This is not the time to experiment, right? You don't do anything on the show that you haven't done before. And I like to practice and I like to do things that I know are going to work. Well, I used this honeysuckle extract and it gave my alcohol like a really bad bite at the very end. I did like a honey and a floral infused spirit because it was supposed to be spring themed, and it messed up. So I was always very hard on myself when I lost, because I feel like as a woman on the show and in the liquor industry, I'm representing us when I go on these competitions, and it's my job to win. And when I lose, or if I make any mistakes, it makes us all look bad in my mind, right? And I have been, when I got eliminated from that tournament, as a period of time where I was very hard on myself. I was very disappointed. I felt like I had let so many people down. But I see other women that go on the show and they represent, and I'm so proud of them, and they might not win, but they do such an amazing job representing women. And just the fact that you go on, it's hard. The hardest part is being on camera, putting yourself out there, letting people judge you. People judge the way you look, your weight, your skin, your hair, how heavy you are, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself. Like, it's the most craziest thing. Not to even mention your skills as a distiller, right? People will tear you apart for your skills as a distiller, because everybody is like a keyboard warrior, or like, everybody is an expert, right? Especially in the liquor industry. And it makes it very hard. So anyone who's gone on that show and has not won, just what you've done is exceptional. And I'm proud of everyone for that. And I know a lot of women that just did excellent jobs, and they are role models to other women, because it's much harder, and you learn a lot more when you don't win than when you win. The easiest thing is to win. It's easy, right? You're like, okay, I did it. But what's really difficult is, how do you recover from losing a competition? That's difficult, because you have to come back from that. And then I was on, last thing I did was the Tournament of the Backwoods, which was another multiple part tournament. It was 3 different spirits that we had to distill, and I won every round of that. We did a corn whiskey, then we did a rye, a Pennsylvania rye. So I was like, I got the rye. I brought my special rye from Robert McDonald from Dancing Star Farms. I got my Danko. And Amanda Palmer corn, which is a corn that was bred by one of my favorite distillers, Alan Bishop. And I went there and I made my rye, which an all grain. And I knew I've done that so many times. Then we did an apple brandy, which was the first Master Distiller that was ever actually done outside. All Master Distiller is done in a legal distillery with legal distilling permits. When we did the apple brandy episode, we got special permission, and this was so cool, from the TTB, and they extended the distilling permit to the outskirts of the distillery. It was on English Mountain Spring, which is considered one of the best tasting waters in the world. And we were able to use that water source to make the alcohol. And then we had to basically divert water ourselves from the spring head to our still site. And we really had the time limits they give you a Master Distiller are 100% real. The 5 days, if they tell you you have 1 hour to do this, that is all real. Like, there is no editing behind the scenes. They don't give you any extra time. That is 100% legit. We had 1 hour to bring water from the creek head down to our still site. And then it had to build up enough pressure to move the water through like a little jacketed arm condenser coming off the still to actually condense our alcohol. If we were not able to do that, we wouldn't have been able to compete. So that was a really unique experience. I really enjoyed that.
I just watched that episode recently, and I was like, you just answered so many questions for me, because I'm like, man, that was such a cool episode that you guys did it outside. I wasn't sure how that worked permitting wise, and it all ran through my head. So you just answered a lot of those questions. That was a great episode. I really enjoyed it.
We had to set up the stills that morning and then clean up and break everything down at the end of the night. The permit was just for the day, and it was just for that one area outside the distillery, just for that period of time. It was a special permission that we got, which was a big deal at the time. Not something I haven't actually heard of before, but it was really cool because I have diverted water from spring heads illegally, and I have distilled next to creeks illegally quite a bit. but I have never gotten to do it legally. So to do that was really a cool experience. After I got on the first, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, just going back a little bit to you said about all the other women that really it made you proud of how they did. We honestly, that's what this month's about. I mean, you should be super proud of what you've accomplished as well, just on the show and personally as well. I mean, it's just such a great journey that you've been on, and to show how much your growth has progressed over the last few years. It's just amazing to watch. So you absolutely need to be proud of that as well. I was going to ask too. So on the show, since we're kind of into that time in your life, did you? So when you first got on the show, how much of an adjustment was it? To go from, kind of doing your own thing and learning your own thing on your own pace to having to produce within certain timelines for a show like this.
When they called me back, I began to watch the show, and I watched every episode, and I learned everything that would be required of me. So I just practiced. The 4-hour distillation is a challenge. So is the 5-day fermentation, because regular fermentation with a standard yeast will normally take about 7 days. So it's actually to your benefit. Well, I'm giving my secrets here. It's actually to your benefit if your mash doesn't work off all the way, because if it did, it would take you longer to get to your hearts in that 4-hour time period. And what happens, or the alcohol that we develop on the final days of fermentation, are mostly acetaldehyde, or the heads. And that's the hardest part. You need to get through the heads in that 4-hour time period and get at
You're muted.
My bad. You could have taken over on that one. But if you just need to go take that bathroom break, go ahead and do so, because I think that is the scheduled time. We are not frozen. Amanda is not frozen. She is giving you a time to go ahead and grab a drink, grab a pour, go use the bathroom, blow your nose, whatever you got to do. So, while she gets the opportunity to jump back on here, she looks so frustrated. I am so sorry.
Deep breath.
The look on her eyes. Deep breath. You got this. It's not you. It's the internet.
Yeah.
Freaking internet, man.
Yeah. You're better off without a cell phone.
Yeah. Or if I would have just done it on my cell phone, which I was going to do, but the camera is not good. So, your question was...
I gotta ask this question. So you're on there. This is probably your 5th time on the show. You have to be one of the most reoccurring people on the show.
I think so. There's something called IMDb, and it basically sums up if you're on television or in movies, every appearance you've ever made. And I think I've been on at least 40 appearances. At least there's more than 40, I believe. That's how many times.
I didn't think it was quite that many. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing Moonshiners this is my 6th season now that we are doing. So between Moonshiners and Master Distiller, the first year, right after I won the first Master Distiller, after a couple months before the episode airs, because sometimes the episode takes a long time to air, they actually called me and asked me if I would come on the Moonshiners show. And immediately I was like, no. Because it was so hard and nerve-wracking to film Master Distiller. The first day that I did what we call an OTF, it's called an on-the-fly interview. And it's kind of how they piece together reality TV. We film what's actually happening, and we're just ourselves. And then later, the producers will be like, well, it would have been great if she had explained what she was doing here. So they'll interview you, and they'll say, hey, when you're still first started running, can you talk about what you were doing or how you felt? And then you comment on that. And then they take that commentary and they put it in the episode. So it's called an on-the-fly interview. There's lights on you. You're uncomfortable standing in front of a camera. You don't want to sound stupid being interviewed or talking on camera. And it's very hard to do. I went outside and I cried. And I was like, this is a huge mistake. These people picked the wrong person. They don't understand that I can't be on camera. I was so down and hard on myself. And I sat down at a picnic table by myself, and I literally saw this black and blue butterfly came, and it flew down and it landed on the table in front of me. And I took a picture of it because to me, that black and blue butterfly is my dad. And when it landed there, I was like, holy crap, I can't believe that I'm in the middle of Tennessee. I'm in a distillery. I'm in the middle of like a gravel pave thing. Like this butterfly just came and it was just sat on the table there. And then I was like, okay, he's like telling me that I got this. I can do this. And I went home that night, or not to the, I went to the hotel. I was staying in Tennessee, and lucky right now. Like I'm doing something that I love to do. I'm doing it in front of the judges who I admired and I respected their opinion like so much. But I said tomorrow in my mind, I was like, tomorrow I get to go into a building and I get to distill, which I know how to distill. I'm good at this. Like I can do that blindfolded. What I was really hard on myself about was being on camera and my own camera presence. And I knew that I was like, all I got to do is just go do what I do. And then at the end of the day, I walk off and I just do what I do. And I know I'm not going to make a mistake there. So I did that, and that was it. I'm a perfectionist at everything I do. So camera presence and trying to figure out how to do television and be on camera was something that I just had to figure out, like everything else I do. I wasn't good at it at first. It's something that you're not good at. You just have to practice, and just get over your fear of being stupid or looking dumb or saying something wrong or being judged. And I like me. I know I'm a good person, and I get a lot of criticism from people on social media, a lot, every day. I try not to read the comments. But if you don't like me, that's okay. You don't have to like me. I like me, and my friends like me. So I'm good with that, you know? And if you just think of it that way, then it's like a false sense of confidence, right? If you're just like, whatever. And if I make a mistake or I look dumb or I sound dumb or I act goofy, that's okay, because I'm goofy. I'm weird. I'm nerdy. I know all these things about myself. Like you can't tell me something about myself that I don't already know. I'm okay with it. Like, so I just had to.
We do that every week. We screw it up every week. I mean, we jump on here and we're ourselves, genuinely ourselves, and try to have fun with guests every week. And I know the feeling. Like at first we're like, we're trying to put on this. I don't know. We never really did try to do that, but like we try to be ourselves every week. And if people don't like us, don't watch the show. It's cool. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
No, that's awesome.
And as long as you're yourself, if you have to go back and watch it later, you can't feel bad about anything you did or said. As long as you're always true, authentic, and true to yourself. Authenticity is where it's all at, because if you try to be something that you're not, then you can look back later and be like, oh, cringe, like I did something wrong, 100%. Or I said something I should not have said. But as long as you are authentically you, then you can never look back on something that you did, even if it was a mistake, and say like, I shouldn't have done that, because it's you. You know, you can't really change who you are.
Absolutely.
So I want to go ahead and talk about Moonshiners, the TV show.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I started talking about that.
So you get asked to go on the show. You talked about, being nervous about, cameras are off. You're just sitting there. I want to know about the people. So you're on a show that already has it's already established. People's been watching it for years. You're the new person coming on. Who were some of the people in this process that you fell on to be like that guiding force? Because early on, you said you didn't have somebody to teach you the things. You didn't have a mentor.
Yeah.
But looking over your Instagram and your Facebook and stuff like that, it feels like over the last few years, you probably do have that mentor now. So who are the people that you relied on?
Excellent question. So the prize of Master Distiller, what really is the prize, and you might not see it until you're done and you go home and then you're like, oh shit, what you get on Master Distiller, what you win is a sense of community and a group of people, because it's not just you there competing. It's about 12 to 15 other distillers, and whether they're hobby distillers or legal distillers or master distillers. One guy was a Dole banana tester, but he was also like a chemical engineer, and he was a distiller. And some people just distill as a hobby. Some people own their own distilleries, but you're getting a sense of community, and you're meeting all these other people in the distilling industry. For me, my appearance on Master Distiller helped to project or multiply, and it just accelerated my education in the distilling industry tenfold to what it was. For me to be able to learn on my own, for me to be able to now have resources and lean on those resources in the distilling industry. And this is before Moonshiners. Moonshiners came a couple months later, but when I was on Master Distiller, I met this amazing group of other distillers. We were all in this weird, awkward position. We're all nervous. We're all going through like in our own heads and going through this really hard. And when you're there and you're competing, it's difficult. It's a very difficult, unique experience. And it's like expedited bonding that we all go through. But I met a distiller there. His name is Chris Yahara. He's the master distiller at Last Shot Distillery. He's a small Japanese man, and he calls himself my Mr. Miyagi. And he calls me Amanda-san. He is a master distiller, a master pastry chef, a master chocolatier. He is a world-winning ice carving champion for the United States. And he is a culinary professor at Syracuse University. He just recently retired to run his business full-time, but he is the head distiller. He opened Last Shot Distillery. And I don't know how old he is right now, but for his age, God, the man is an inspiration and so humble and so intelligent. But he was running across the street of like 5 lanes in Kodak to the gas station one day. So he's like, I'm going to run across the street. Do you want anything from the gas station? And I was like, whoa, dude. Like, let me drive you. You want to come out to dinner? Like, he didn't have a car. And we were all stranded at this hotel in Kodak. So I was like, absolutely not. Do not run across the street. And we wound up having dinner together. And I learned that he was like a great family man. And he had dinner with his family and his daughters, who were all my age, every Sunday. So I had family dinner with him, and he literally just adopted me, like right then and there. He was like, you're like my daughter, come to my distillery. So I did. And he taught me everything that he knew so openly. He just poured his knowledge into me. And I will be forever grateful for that, because he introduced me to the legal distilling industry and bourbon. So this is a time in my life where I said, okay, this is bourbon. This is different. And this is an art form all on its own. And I started to learn about bourbon in depth and barrel aging and different grains and distilling on the grain versus how I had always been distilling before. I saw a huge contrast, and that completely changed my entire perspective on distilling forever. And he brought me into his distillery. He let me run 400-gallon stills. One day, he literally, like a dad, put me on the still and then was like, you know what? I got to run to the bank. Here's like, if you need to turn the condenser down, like here, you control the water, you control the steam. I'll be back. And I was like, holy crap. Like he just left me here. And like this huge still it's running like a hose into a barrel. It was a stripping run, right? Like I later know now that a stripping run, it's not a big deal. You can't mess up a stripping run. Like you can't blow the building up. I mean, you could if you were trying to, but there was nothing really I could have done super wrong. But in that moment, I was like, I'm running this still. This is so cool. He literally, to this day, has taught me just everything. He has been one of the greatest mentors to me. And I have barrels in his distillery that I made. There was a period of time where he had several surgeries. He's getting old and he's working himself hard. He does. So I came and would stay with him a couple times a month and for a couple days. And I would, strip whiskey, do spirit runs. And then he would handle all the perfect, like the blending and barreling and everything. But I would do it all with him. But I would do the labor parts for him. And I gained experience and I was able to learn as much as I could doing that and helping him. He's just such an amazing person to me. And from that point on, it was really the first time I ever tasted bourbon and whiskey and said, whoa, I like this. And at any time before that, I had tasted it and I thought like, this is dry. This tastes like a barrel. I'm not really getting any depth here. And when I tasted his bourbon, it was like an explosion of flavor and ingredients and grains. And there was so much depth and complexity to it. I tell him, my joke is that he spoiled my palate right from the very beginning. And I have a spoiled palate to this day. I like really dense, really decadent. I like pot distilled whiskeys and bourbons. I'm a big Leopold Brothers fan. And my friends in the distilling industry now, they make fun of me and they say Leopold Brothers is only for like huge nerds. And I'm like, that is not true. They are the best whiskey I've ever tasted. Like, hands down. I mean, there's other whiskeys that I totally nerd out about in my own sense. But man, a bottle of Leopold Brothers is like you bringing me a bar of gold. Tell you what, the depth in that.
I'm going to say this, and I know this is going to bring this back. This is going to like bring this back to Mick's like thought process. One of my favorite distillers. I'm not talking about female master distillers. I'm talking about distillers, period. Mm-hmm. She was the former distiller for Old Dominic, Alex Castle.
Yes.
And when she was on the show,
I love her. Oh my gosh.
Alex is a true gem in the whiskey bourbon industry. I'm not talking about women's distiller. I'm talking about period. She had the same moment when she first got started to where the person that was running the distillery that she was at said, I have to leave. You're in charge. You had the exact same moment. And I'm sitting here thinking the journey that she went through to get to where she's at now, you're going through that same journey. You're going to be just as big.
Yeah. I hope that's the goal.
No doubt in that.
I hope to really be successful in everything I do. My learning experience is really weird, out of the box, and I have an amazing, like a different perspective. And I've been given such a different learning experience. Like I really have I'm very grateful because, for example, that was one I was doing the legal distilling with Chris. I was learning how to do that and to make whiskey and bourbon. But at the same time, when that was going on, the Discovery Channel called me and they said, if you could work with anyone on the show, because I told them I didn't want to do it. They called me back and they're like, we would really like you to be on the show. We think that your episode was excellent and we would really like to bring you on. If you could work with anyone, just think about it. Who would that be? And for me, what I really loved about distilling, not just the science of it, was the history of it. And I really admire, and I feel like to be a master distiller, you have to be able to use any kind of equipment, distill with any kind of fuel, any kind of ingredients, in any kind of setting. You have to really, but not just from going to school, you have to practice and do these things. Like I said, Mark Rogers does wood burning fire. He builds furnaces. At the time I was doing stonemason work, so I really admired that. And he's so old school and traditional that I said, if I could work with Mark Rogers, I feel like I could really learn a lot about historical distilling from him. And they called me in like a week and they're like, Mark Rogers will work with you. When can you come to North Carolina? So quick. It happened. It all happened so fast. Like, it's unbelievable. It's like the blink of an eye. It's still to this day is unreal. It's like, feels like a dream, like you're like a fever dream that you're going to wake up from sometimes. But within a week, I was in North Carolina. We were sifting clay out of the ground to make red clay mortar. Mark Rogers said I went through a test where he tested me and my work ethic to see if I would stick around. And I realized that was what he was doing because no one in their right mind would do this to anybody. But he said, here, this is where we're going to put the still. You're going to walk up the hill there. He meant the hill was a mountain. And about halfway up is like a landing where there's a bunch of rocks. Bring the rocks down and we'll build a furnace with it. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I got this. The rocks were not all just like sitting on top of the ground. You had to dig for some of them. There was not a lot of rocks and it didn't look like there was enough rocks to build a furnace. So I just did what he told me and I started carrying down armfuls of rocks for a whole day. And then the next day he came and he brought a wheelbarrow. And he goes, here, look, little Amandy, I got you a wheelbarrow. Well, the wheelbarrow after day one was like the best gift in the world. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to carry so much rocks with this wheelbarrow. This is the shit. So I'm like up and down with this wheelbarrow and I'm lugging. What you don't think about is that you could, for a living, lift heavy stones and rip shingles and, whatever you do for a living. Imagine having a camera in your face while you're doing that. And if it's like 90 degrees and you're pouring sweat and there's a camera in your face, that is frustrating because you look like your absolute worst, right? And when you're working hard, you can't also care about what you look like because you're working really hard. So that was like a thing I had to try to figure out. Was like, I looked terrible, and they were filming me, and I just had to get over that. I just had to be like, this is whatever. This is what I look like when I'm pouring sweat and there's dirt all over me and my hair is a mess and my hair is wet because it's hot and I'm really doing this. Like, this is not fake. They're not turning off the cameras and they're like, okay, it's done. Like, we really built that furnace, and it took us 2 weeks, 14 days, and they zipped that into a 30-second clip, and it looks like TV magic. Well, it was not. It was like sweat and blood and tears. On the third day, Mark Rogers brought in a machine and drove the machine up the mountain and took one big scoop with his machine and then came back down and dumped it. In 2 scoops, we had enough rocks to build the furnace. And we then actually by hand built the furnace. I learned what rocks to use and what rocks not to use, which quartz would explode through heat, and how to build the gap around the copper pot. We did coppersmithing, like old school, without any tools, by hand, hammering and repairing the pot. We dug it out and we bury the pot in the ground. And in wood burning fire, you have to submerge so much of the bottom of the pot, and you build the furnace around it. Then the fire, there's different kinds of wood burning fire distillation that I practiced, but at this time, this was a, like, we built a chimney on the back to pull the smoke out, and then the furnace was encompassed like around the pot, and there was a firebox in the front, or that's how they refer to it, but it's a 50-gallon metal drum. It's all pasted in with this red clay mortar that we dug up out of the ground. Everything was super traditional, and I just absolutely enjoyed every second of it. I learned what kind of wood to use. I learned how to maintain the fire, how to heat it up, how to draw it back, how to control manual reflux on a still. It was just such an amazing learning experience. And then I also learned, because it wasn't just Mark Rogers, it was his cousin Huck Stewart. 2 of them together are 2 just like salt of the earth, good people. How to just take it easy and not overthink things and not worry too much, because I was just fast talking kid coming in here asking a million questions, and I was worrying about everything. And I learned from them. They were just like, don't worry about it. Nothing is so big of a deal that you need to get upset about it. Like, we could fix anything. We'll figure anything out. They just go with the flow. So easy. And when I was like, I'm going to take some of this with me. Like, give me this energy. And I try to apply that to things that I approached from that point on. But I did that. I distilled with them for 2 years. We built 2 stone furnaces at 2 different still sites. I learned how to find a still site in the woods, how to know if somebody else had been near where you were, how to divert water from a creek to do gravity-fed condensers, how to make and build, not like copper pipes. Like, if we needed a copper pipe, we hammered the copper and pieced it together and soldered it all by hand. Me and Huck spent hours one night making just the part of the still that goes from the cap into the thumper, which is the elbow. But we did it with sheet copper. And they don't show any of that stuff, but it was an amazing learning experience for me. And I just greatly appreciated that. And the history of distilling, that moonshine has been around since legal distilling, because when they made distilling legalized and permitted and taxed, half of the people said, okay, I will follow this rule. And the other half of the people said, no, I just fought taxation without representation. There's no way I'm going to do this. And they just were like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And these guys that I started working with had generationally done this. Like, this is a real moonshiner. Okay. There's very few real moonshiners left in the world. People who made a real living. And then there's the debate, what is a real moonshiner? And this is something heavily argued, even in our community. People will tear each other apart. It's so silly, instead of supporting one another. But a real moonshiner is somebody who went to jail for it, put bread on the table with it, got themselves through hardships and times in their lives by making alcohol and selling that alcohol. That's what a real moonshiner is. And essentially live through hard times. Like, Mark Rogers could remember a time when he first saw paper money in his 20s. He's like, when I was in my 20s, I remember when I first saw paper money. Before that, he had bartered. Wow. He had used the barter system for things. He remembered when sugar became available. And there's also some old-time moonshiners, Dwight Bearden, Mark Rogers. They remember a time where they lived in such an isolated area, sugar was not available before the highway system. So a truck would come through your town once a week, and you would get things that you couldn't make on your homestead, like toilet paper, soap, and eventually, and sugar. But sugar wasn't abundant, and it wasn't something that you could rely on as a fermentable ingredient. So he remembers when sugar became available, and it's amazing to hear these perspectives, right? Because it's very much part of the American distilling history, just as much as the legal bourbon industry and the legal distilling industry is part of the American distilling history. It's equally there. It's nostalgic. It's exciting. You know, it's awesome. And I respect that equally to what I respect in the legal industry. Mark Rogers, after 2 years, he has been filming the show. The show's been on. We're doing. Okay, so there's NDAs, right? So we've done 15 seasons of Moonshiner so far that have aired, and currently we're airing season 15. That's a lot of years for someone to film television, and a lot of people want to be on television, but if you do it for so many years, it is very taxing. Filming the show is taxing. It's a hard job to make alcohol. It's a harder job to do it on camera, because a lot of things you have to carry that sack over again for me. Can you do it again? I'm going to put up a drone. Can you carry it again? So most of what we're doing, we could do in one go around and just how we do it. But having to do it so that it can be recorded properly for TV makes it, it adds an extra layer of like complexity to it. And over time, I understand that some of these guys get exhausted by it, and he needed a break. So he stopped filming for a year. And that's when I wound up working with Mark and Digger. So I hated to leave Mark and Huck. I don't like change. And I really loved working with Mark and Huck. Oh, by the way, Huck gave me this knife. He makes these knives. So everybody, a huge thing is everybody.
Uh-oh.
When I see your knife, this is my knife that I carry all the time. Okay. I'm a big firearms, Second Amendment person. I help do women firearms safety and training. I build firearms. I do youth mentor hunting, and I collect knives. And when I met Huck, I had a really nice, a 1990 Acuna buck knife, which to me, it's just a knife that I've always wanted, and I saved up the money and I bought one. It's a very badass knife. You can still get them, but they've gotten a little bit expensive over the years. And he was like, "Man, I love your knife." And I was like, "I like your knife." And he said, "Well, I make these." And he charges a good amount of money for them. And then here's part of the story that I don't usually tell publicly, but something happened while we were filming, and it turned out that when you film on TV, sometimes you don't get paid. And I had taken off of my job for 2 weeks. I never had a lot of money. I still don't. We still live paycheck to paycheck, and I did then. So I'd taken off of work for 2 weeks, and I realized at that time that I wasn't going to get paid. And I was really upset. And I was really like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. I lost 2 weeks of pay. That's irresponsible to my family and my household." And Huck was so upset, and he called me the day I went to leave. We built the furnace together, and he's like, you shouldn't leave here empty-handed, gal." He calls me gal. He's like, "I want you to have this." And he gave me, this was his knife that he carried. So he makes them and sells them, but this specific knife was his. So he is someone who also doesn't have a lot, and for him to give me this knife meant the world to me, because I knew what it meant to him. It was like him giving me his most prized possession. He turned down the brass on the handle. He makes the bands, and this is a horn from a deer that he hunted. He shaped the blades, and he even makes the leather sheaths. He does all the little stamping on them and everything, and it's all custom. So, but this wasn't just a knife that he made for me. It's his knife. And that's why that became my knife that I go everywhere with, because it just meant the world to me.
I will say that's become a signature, because when I was telling people that we had you on, I had a couple of messages, and then people in my real life say, "It's the girl with the knife." And that's, if you notice, even in some of our promo photos that we have, your knife is very prominent in that photo. And that's what I was asked. "Hey, is it the girl with the knife?" And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, this girl with the knife. So I was
Yeah.
going to ask you about that knife and figure out, was it just something that you had and that you always carried, or was there meaning behind it? But you just answered that one. So thanks.
I've always carried a knife. My rule number one is you never go anywhere without a knife. And that has always been a rule of mine. The only time I'm without a knife is when I check in at the airport. In my check bag, I have to check my firearm and my knife at the same time. So it's the only time that I do not have a weapon on me. And it's just something I always have had. I encourage, if you are a young girl in today's world, to get a pocket knife when you're old enough, when your parents say that you can have one, and carry a knife. I believe that women should also feel comfortable and learn how to operate a firearm just in case they ever need to. Whether or not you want your children or younger women to operate a firearm, that can be up to them at a certain age, but every woman should fire a gun, know how to safely do it, how to safely handle a gun, how to safely carry a gun, and how to safely handle and carry a knife as well, because I've been in situations in my life where if I did not have the knife, it would have been a lot worse for me. So that is why I do that. And it's just something as simple as openly carrying the knife or the firearm is going to make a lot of bad people think twice about bothering you. They will stay away from you like a force field because they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to mess with that chick. She'll stab me. Right. And for the most part, it's like, do not, like, I will stab a bitch, like it's a deterrent, essentially. It's a deterrent. And I've just always carried one. Yeah. And it became Huck's big ass elkhorn knife because of how much that gift meant to me. I'm very sentimental. Huck has been another role model of mine. He's taught me a lot of his recipes. I actually have a still that he built me. My first copper still was North Georgia copper still. They are veteran owned. So me and my friends, we decided to go with them, and we saved up for 1 year to buy a North Georgia copper still years ago. And then it was a 20-gallon, and I wanted a bigger one, but they're very expensive. So Huck actually set, for the price of the copper, he gave me a 40-gallon copper still that he built. And it was awesome because he had the identical copper still. So I was able to distill with him in different states where he would like tell me how to make something and I would make it. And if you make the same mash and you distill it on different equipment, it's going to taste differently. But I have the identical equipment to what he had. So I was really able to copy and replicate exactly what he was doing, how he was doing it. And he does make some of the best moonshine that I have tasted out of. Everyone's like, who makes the best moonshine on the show? That's hard. Huck is one of my favorite, his products. And Henry Law makes the best brandy. I have to give that hands down. That man makes the best brandy. Sorry, everyone else. But I think, everyone else there, honestly, all the other guys, I'm sure they would agree with me. You cannot throw a stick at the Law's brandy. It's just that good. And they probably will never watch this. That's not even why I'm saying it. Just because that's the truth. Like, I will probably get in trouble for saying that, but it's that good.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. It sounds like over time, obviously you met so many different people and saw so many different techniques, but every person played a role in building you to who you are today and actually taught you those life lessons, which is such a cool part of your journey. It's you started on this journey on your own and obviously self-taught for the most part, but it also seems like everybody played this little building block for you to get to that next level.
Yeah. I say I'm a professional sponge. And because I literally learn in the School of Hard Knocks, I do not have a traditional education. So every opportunity that I have to learn from someone, I take that. I learn something from everyone that I meet. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a bad thing. But either way, you learn and you grow from the people around you, and that's how you become a better person. So I absorb as much knowledge as I can. I'm a professional sponge. And I take every opportunity I can to work with different people. I ask lots of questions. I listen. And then I also have what is, I believe, an eidetic memory. So not a photographic memory where you remember everything you've ever seen or you can like picture something. You can essentially remember like every conversation that you've ever had, which is not the best thing in the world, but sometimes it works to your advantage. Like if I read a book, I can remember it. If I have a conversation with you guys, I can go back in my head and I can basically go through every single thing that I said and remember it. sometimes it sucks because when you say something that you are not, you're like, why did I say that? You'll just never forget it. But it helps to absorb from people. And I have been, from the moment I went on Master Distiller, I have been entirely blessed by all of the people in the industry who have immensely helped me. So many, like this story goes on and on of the people who I respect and admire, who I thought were my superiors, and I was intimidated by them. And my sister, actually, Caitlin, she told me one day, she said, Amanda, these are not your superiors anymore. These are your peers. And I was like, whoa, that's like, my sister's very wise. She's very intelligent and wise. And when she said that to me, I was like, almost like I had to take a minute to believe it. And then I was like, you know what? In a certain sense, she was correct. And when I started approaching it like that, then I had more confidence. And those people who I still consider, they're my peers, they're my best friends, but they are also mentors to me still to this day. We did, Alan Bishop, for example, is outside of the Moonshine show. He writes books, and he is an author of several books that I read when I was younger. I bought every one of his books and I read them, and I thought, wow, this guy is the best distiller in the United States. He is one of the smartest people that I have ever talked to. I called him once for distilling advice, and I didn't want to call him because I read his books and I thought, like, oh my God, I couldn't call Alan Bishop for advice. He's Alan frickin' Bishop. And a friend of mine was like, no, seriously, call him. Like, he would love to talk to you. He likes to talk about like distilling and stuff, and call him. So I didn't call him. I didn't take their advice. And then finally that friend contacted me again. They were like, hey, did you call Alan Bishop? And I was like, no, I didn't want to bother him. And they're like, okay, well, he's expecting your call right now. So here's his number, call him. And I did. And me and Alan talked for like 3 hours, and he was one of the coolest people, like so cool. We just nerded out. And I was like, wow, that was like the first person that was ever to like keep up with me when I had to get a pen and paper and I had to write down some of the stuff he was saying, because I was learning from him in the conversation on a phone call. I was learning so much from him so rapidly. I'm like, this guy is incredible. And one of the greatest gifts of all, he reached out to me. They were doing a historic trades workshop for veterans, and he knows that I really love and support veterans, and I do work with veterans. So he was like, would you like to help us and be one of the speakers for our historic trade workshop for veterans? And I was like, abso-freaking-lutely. Like, tell me when, tell me where, all about this. I didn't know what it was. I just agreed to do it. And it turned out to be one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever done in my distilling career. It was a free workshop, which we're still doing it. We're working together. Me and a couple of the distillers are trying to get funding. We're working on a project to get funding to fund the next distillation. The first year was funded by the federal government, but the federal government has since like taken away funding from a lot of its entities. And this was one of them. The entity that funded us has lost their funding. So we are trying to make it kind of self-sustaining, but a whole bunch of amazing people in the industry wound up doing it. And we came together and we did a 2-day class for veterans where we talked about the distilling industry. It was hosted by Stolen Wolf Whiskey, and Eric Wolf is the master distiller there. He has since become one of my best friends as well. Alan also. These are people that, like, it's hard when you're on television to trust new people in your life. But these are people that I trust very much. And we did the historic trades workshop for veterans. It was very rewarding. A lot of the veterans came because they saw what I posted. And I was very grateful for everyone who came out to that, because for me, what I got out of distilling was a sense of community and a sense of purpose in my life. And I say that it saved my life, because at the time when I started distilling, I believe that it did save my life. It gave me something to focus on, to look forward to, something to take care of. And I gained a sense of community out of it, which I did not have before. And I believe that distilling or home distillation in that community is helpful to veterans, because they can find a sense of purpose and a sense of community. And there's lots of people, maybe not just veterans, that are looking for that in life. And we want to try to provide that for people that, if you want, it's just a hobby, right? At the end of the day, but it's really much more than that. It's something that you have to care for, look forward to. It's something that it's a live fermentation. You have to check on it and then see it to the end. And there's a big process there, and there's other people doing it. But the distilling industry is very much like a veteran community. And it's something that veterans find that benefits them. So I love doing the veteran workshop. I had wanted to go to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is George Washington's historical distillery. It's a very prestigious distillery to be able to work at in the distilling industry. It's the nerdy distilling historian crowd. So when you talk about master distillers go there, and it's invitation only. So Mount Vernon is operational only for 2 seasons out of the year. And the rest of the year, they just do demonstrations for guests that come to the estate at Mount Vernon. And then for 2 seasons out of the year, they close it to the public. And it's invitation only, and it's operated by volunteer distillers from all over the world. And the historians that work at Mount Vernon, and those people are exceptional people. They are all doctors and masters in different categories of history. So everyone that gets to work at Mount Vernon is an exceptional human being and is so intelligent and full of information. It's an amazing experience. It's like adult day camp for distillers, but you also travel back in time because it's historically correct. There is not electricity. There is wood-burning fire furnaces like would have been done in George Washington's day. There's a historical grist mill next door that we walk to, and they operate the grist mill to grind all of our grains, come from the property, grown on the property, and are ground up in the historical grist mill. And we are doing distillation like it would have been done in the 1700s at that time in that location. So it's really incredible. But I wanted to go there for years, and I emailed them and I was like, hey, listen, I'll work for free. I pay my own way. Can I come? They just never responded to me. And at that historic trades workshop, the head distiller at the time, Steve Bayshore, who is another person who I'm immensely amazing that I respect in this industry, he attended and he saw the seminar that I did. It's just like an hour-long talk about moonshine is American as apple pie. I talk a little about the history of distilling in America and taxation of alcohol, and then the sect where we have legal distilling industry and moonshining today. And I do a pot still demonstration. Well, after that, he's like, you should come and join us at Mount Vernon. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, yes. I tried to play it cool. I was like, I mean, I could probably make some time on my calendar, but like inside, I was like, oh my God, this is what I've always wanted to come to Mount Vernon and distill. It's just so amazing to be able to. I got up every morning. I didn't have a car. I got dropped off there. I share a car with my fiance. He dropped me off in Virginia. And I would walk. I walked through the woods to George Washington's distillery at like the crack of dawn. I was the first one there when they opened the doors. And there's historians there from Europe. There's distillers from all over the country there. But the meeting of the minds is what that is. It's incredible. And we just practice our craft in a really raw, really manual way, the way that it has been done for thousands of years. There's something really, it's like, if I can compare it to anything, it's as important as going to church. Like, it's something very spiritual about going there and practicing that craft in that way. In that building, it was like sacred to all of us. And I'm just really grateful for all of the moments and the opportunities that I've had to work there and to work with those people. And it was another, like, everything is just adding experience to my skill set, right? It's a different type of fire distillation with a different type of manual reflux, copper pot stills. Every distillery I've worked at just adds another layer of experience with equipment and mashing and just, it's expanding. And then I'm more confident in my skills because I know that you can throw me in any situation and I've done the most hardest thing to do. So if I can do that, then I can basically figure out anything else from that point.
Absolutely. A buddy of mine went to Mount Vernon. He's a veteran as well. And it was on his bucket list forever. And when he retired, he went down there to do a tour. And he actually hit a time of year where they were actually releasing some bottles. And he said it was one of the most amazing I don't know. I think he used the same word you just did, as spiritual, of just being on those grounds where, our first commander in chief and that liquor was being made at that time, and they're still doing it pretty much in the same traditional way. It was just such an amazing spiritual time for him down there.
Ruh-roh. Are we there again?
It's time for that pee break, I guess. I don't know.
It's time for that pee break again.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your scheduled pit stop for the evening. As she gets back on here, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring it into when she gets back on here. Let's go ahead and talk about the new distillery. Uh-oh.
That's exactly where I was going. You keep stealing my questions, brother.
Back.
She is
back. All right, girl. Welcome back. We are so glad that we gave everybody the opportunity to go use the bathroom, grab another drink, whatever.
Right.
So
We care about you.
I will say this. I have, and everybody in the chat as I'm watching, we all have so many questions that we could ask about either Master Distiller or Moonshiners. Hopefully I can convince you to come back at another point and we just talk about that process.
Yeah, totally.
But the next thing I want to go into is Unholy Beginnings.
Yes.
I've been following you for the last year plus, trying to get this distillery opened.
Yes.
Tell us about how the process started, what made you decide that you're going to do a distillery, and two, the name. Love to know about the name.
Yes. So how did I get into this project initially? When I injured myself roofing, I was no longer able to roof, and that was my main source of income. Television does not pay nearly anything. It's not something you can survive off of. I made more money roofing than I made from filming a television show in a 7-day period. So I really had to always have another source of income, which is why I roofed until I couldn't anymore, because it paid my bills and sustained our household. It helped sustain us. So when I hurt myself, I really had to start looking at other ways to have income coming in. And I taught private classes under the table, right? But it was not a safe and responsible thing to do. And I was contacted by someone opening a large distillery. I'm not going to name, I'm not going to say where or anything like that. I was always said, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say anything at all. And I'm that person that will never speak bad about you, even if you do wrong to me. I will only say something positive about my friends or even my enemies. But so I was in a situation where I was looking at working in a distillery. I was going to move to operate the distillery and be the head distiller. I started teaching myself how to operate a distillery. I came up with an efficiency plan, how we would operate. They had expectations and goals of production. So I came up with a way on how we could operate their equipment to meet those goals. I had a 1-year, 5-year, and a 10-year plan of how we would expand and how I would approach meeting and surpassing their goals for production. And like products, a list of different products and mash bills and recipes and things that we would release, things that we could release early on to move. And I had a 2-week period where I was about to move and I was about to lock in. And I wanted them to confirm that my salary, that they were going to pay me the salary they had initially agreed on. And again, this would be my first big distilling job. So I said, if you could just give me something close to the average salary of a head distiller, I would be moving to almost essentially live on site and work 60 to 70 hours a week to make sure that your business is a success. I can guarantee that. And you're not just getting like my experience, but there's talent, right? And something I don't give myself credit for is relevance or a following. Something that I'm not good at enterprising or branding myself or putting myself out there. It's something I'm really not good at because it's just a weird thing to do, I feel like, is self-promotion. But that was part of what I was bringing to the business as well. And right before I went to move, they said, we're sorry, but we can only pay you 40% of what we initially agreed to. And that was like, took the wind out of my sails. And I tried to do the math because more than anything, what I wanted was to run a distillery and make spirit and do it legally more than anything. And I was crushed. because I said I can't responsibly leave my home and pay rent and help contribute to my bills at home still, for what that would have came out to for an hourly wage. It would have been like $14 to $16 an hour. Just crazy. And McDonald's paid more than that at that time where I lived. So, and that's not being disrespectful. That's just being real. I was very upset, and I went to some of the people that I really trust, my friends in the community, and I told them, I vented to them, and I was like, can you believe this happened? And some, like Tim Smith is from the Moonshiner show. He said, good for you. Good for you. He said, know your worth, stand your ground. You did the right thing. He said, absolutely be confident in your decision, because if you had bended to those people, they would have taken advantage of you and you would have been in hell there. Because if they didn't recognize your worth, they had the money to pay me an average salary easily, tenfold. They could have paid me 10 times what I was asking. It was a shock to me. And Tim Smith was like, it was a blessing in disguise. That same week, I was on the phone. I got a phone call from a really good friend of mine, Jeff Warnicki. He is the owner, along with Andrew Warnicki, of North Georgia Still Company. They are the people who I've bought all of my copper products from since I started buying copper. They make the top of the line copper stuff. You can throw it down a flight of steps, but they were the first ones I went with. They were veteran owned. And they've always just supported me. Before they didn't know who I was. I wasn't on television. I was just some freaking dork in a garage saving up money for a year to buy a little 20-gallon copper still. And they have always just treated me with respect. They have done really cool things for me where they've helped me out to be able to acquire distillation equipment when I could not have afforded to do it, so that I could have better equipment in the industry, so that I could be better at my job. They have always supported me. And Jeff said, hey, did that job really fall through for you? He disbelief. And I was like, yeah, well, it did. And he said, well, do you want to run a distillery with us? Because I have an opportunity to run one, to take over a project. He said, but I can't leave my family and my job and my business and run it. And I don't have the expertise. He said, but you do. Would you want to do that? And I thought about it for a little bit. And I was like, yes, maybe this was the blessing in disguise. Maybe this was what I needed to do. And I would have never had the courage to say yes to this question if I had not just spent months preparing for it. And that's what I did. I spent months preparing for how to run a distillery. Now I wasn't running it for someone else. I was going to be running it as partially for me and for other people. So for the last about 2 years, I have been overseeing the construction designs and trying to build a distillery that's not just a distillery now, right? So now I have the opportunity to build it how I want, and that is an educational distillery. Because I worked so hard to educate myself. I could never afford a traditional education in college. To this day, I still cannot afford to go to college. There are other distilling programs that are not college bound, but they are still out of my reach financially. And they are just in their pricing, right? Because some places will charge you $6,000 to $7,000 for a couple days to sit in a class, and they get that and they fill up that class, but they're delivering an education, and that information is value. I want to make an accessible education for people that delivers the value tenfold, but that's accessible. It's reasonably priced. We're underpricing it tremendously right now compared to what we should be pricing. But the idea was that we had this reduced price until we got into our classroom, and we would build a state-of-the-art classroom under which to have these classes. And we could have all different kinds of classes and at all different skill levels, and you could return for these classes. And that's really what Unholy Beginnings Distilling Company became, was an educational distillery first. And then the educational portion would allow me to not have to follow traditional rules that a distiller follows operating a distillery, like I have to make a certain quota. I have to sell a certain amount of bottles and product. I have to cut corners because of this to make this extra penny. I don't ever want to do that. And I think this is where a lot of my untraditional experience also leads me to, is we don't follow any rules in the backwoods or in a garage in the illegal liquor industry. We have a lot of freedom. And that's the beauty of it, is it allows you to really play with the craft and break the rules because of the freedom that you have. It's the number one, my favorite thing about illicit distilling. Then learning how to distill legally, you learn that you don't have any freedom at all. You have to follow all the rules in the world, and you have to know all the rules because it's your job now to follow the law because you're now operating a federal business. And there's so much red tape and regulations and rules. And it's not just that. I can operate a distillery and follow all.
Uh-oh. Are we at that time again?
I just peed.
Dude,
I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I already got my pour. I'm already good to go.
Yeah, I still got a little bit left. I'm good.
I will say that I can't imagine how frustrated she is, but yeah, I can't imagine because this happens to me quite often. So
I've had my nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had my nuts.
So as she gets caught up and she gets back in here, maybe this was her break. She had to go take that break. She had
to pee.
She may have to get to pour. So while she's getting all set back up and coming back in here, I will say I'm going to lead into. I want to talk about. Uh-oh, here she is. Oh, she looks frustrated. Here we go. That look.
Hi.
Sorry, my bad.
It's all good. So let's go ahead and do this.
I know we've been here forever, right?
No,
Sorry.
No, we're good.
This is what we do.
Yeah, this is how we operate. So I do want to touch into, the distillery that's being built right now, is located where?
In St. Paul, Virginia.
Okay.
It's
And
Southwest
your-
Virginia.
Okay.
Your classes that you are doing are located where?
Currently, they're in Dahlonega, Georgia. So
Okay.
we just have to pay a hosting distillery to host us. So if anyone out there has a distillery and you would like to host the classes under your permit or legal liquor license, a lot of people want me to take it elsewhere because I can bring the class to where they live. But right now, people are traveling from all over Canada. I mean, outside the country to come to my
I was
classes.
just thinking that Mick and I need to come down there and like film us doing your class down there and turn it into a podcast itself. So I'm just saying.
I love that. If that could be something that we could work out, if you want to help do some filmography, which I suck at, I could probably totally have you guys in a class, comp you, and just if you could, because photos and film help me too to show people what we're doing. It's very unique. It's a very unique opportunity. It's hands-on. We do one day where we cover fermentation, and I do a lot of the history and the science of fermentation. We make a mash. We're grinding grains and we're stirring by hand, and we are checking gravity. And I deliver a lot of information in a very short amount of time. But it also has like ongoing consulting, so you can come back and ask me any questions at any point in time forever. And then the second day is distillation, where we're doing like hands-on distillation, making cuts, blending, tempering, just learning how to do everything manually, like the old way and the new way. It's a combination of both. It's my favorite part of the month is when I get to do these classes. But you guys should totally come to one. I would love to have y'all.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. We'll set that up. We'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah.
So Mick, do you want to go ahead and get into some hot box questions?
I would love to do some hot box questions. I'm not sure Amanda's ready for hot box, but
I don't know. I hope so.
All right. So before we get into hot box questions, do want to thank our sponsor for hot box questions, Beard Apothecary.
Hi, honey. Did you finally finish the Irish goodbye?
Yes. You want to help me clean up?
What's going on, fam? I dodged that bullet. So, hey, we just re-released our limited edition for St. Patrick's Day, the Irish Goodbye. This was inspired by our good friend, the shirtless wonder, Mr. Bernie himself. Going to be limited again. We ran out pretty quick last year. It is back. It is smelling wonderful. Get it for St. Patrick's Day. And whatever you do, make sure you give the boys a like, a follow, and a subscribe. Don't let the beard lick word. Stay metal, my friends.
huge thanks to John and his favorite Aldi, or our favorite Aldi, his wife. Thanks for jumping on here and being a sponsor with the Real Smoke podcast. So we have 2 questions each to ask. Mick always starts first. Mick, what do you have for Hotbox questions?
All right, just because I need it for the post-show promos and all the stuff we push out so people watch the show in the replay. What is your favorite musical band or artist?
I knew you were going to ask me this because I watched your show. Okay, so...
Damn it, she's prepared.
Yeah, I have this. I'm not. So this is the hardest question to answer because I have no favorite. I use music like a time machine where literally like every day I'll listen to like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It doesn't matter. I'm very eclectic. I will like be listening to just Nat King Cole, and then I'm listening to the Misfits.
Okay.
The band I've seen more than any other band, I've seen the Misfits about 12 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Wow.
That's most people don't believe that. I'm like, yeah, I was a little punk kid for sure.
All right. So question number 2. What is the dumbest way that you've ever injured yourself?
That's good. Okay. This is a great question. It actually ties back to distilling on Master Distiller. And you had asked before, what is anything you hope has never been on camera? So it's something called charging your thumper, where you heat up the still, and it's a way to speed up your run. And there's a pour spout on the bottom of the pot. So you turn down the flame and you open that spout with hot mash in it, and you pour some into a bucket. Then you take the hot boiling mash and you pour it into your thumper. It's preheating your thumper so that when the steam hits your thumper, it doesn't have to heat that copper up. It's already preheated, charging the thumper. So I did this on a Master Distiller, and they set the stills up for you ahead of time. So I didn't take this into account, but they pointed that drain spout at the thumper. So here's the thumper, here's the drain spout. There was not a lot of room for me to get in there. And when I turned it down, that steam came out. When you open it, steam comes out. Turn the flame down, open the little ball valve, hot mash came out, and steam. Well, the steam caught on fire along with the mash. And when that happened, I got it on my hand, and my hand caught on fire. Like a good chunk of my hand was burning with scalding hot alcohol on it. Big flames. And I just put it out, and I kept doing I just kept distilling because I was terrified that they were going to make me stop and go see the medic. I didn't want to stop my distillation because I would have had to walk away from my still, and I would have been disadvantaged in the competition. So I hid it, and I thought the whole time, oh my God, I hope nobody saw that. I hope they didn't get that on camera. By the time I was done, I was like, hey, can I get a Band-Aid? And at this time, like my skin was falling off of my hand, and no one had noticed the whole time. It was like severe, at least 2nd degree burns, bad. I went up to the sound guy and I was like, hey, did you see when I burned myself? And he's like, no, are you okay? The sound guy watches all the cameras and monitors at the same time. So they didn't get it on camera. And my biggest fear was that I was going to be the girl who burned herself on TV. But I wasn't, right? So it could have happened, but I got really lucky and I wasn't. I did severely burn myself, though, while filming television. So it could have gone the complete opposite direction.
That's absolutely insane.
It was blistered bad. It was really gross.
So after that, was the show were they done filming afterwards, or did you have to get it wrapped up, or somehow how did you hide it?
I filmed with a bandage on, like 2 more. I think at least 1 or 2 more days of filming, and that gets all edited into 1 episode. So towards the end of the episode, I will have like a bandage on my hand. I can't remember.
I've got to go find that.
Was, but it was rough.
Wow.
That's insane.
I think that was the first Tournament of Champions. So it was like the 2nd episode of the first or 2nd episode of Tournament of Champions. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely have to check that out. That actually kind of leads me into my next question. So you mentioned multiple times tonight about not being real comfortable being on camera. And you mentioned it multiple times, like I said. Have you ever gone back and actually watched some episodes, and what were some of your favorite parts that you're like proud of, and what were some of them that you're like, I could have done without that?
Yeah. I hate to see myself on camera. It's like nerve-wracking. I just recently quit smoking cigarettes. I smoked for 17 years. And I used to smoke, like, I could blow through a pack of Newports while I was watching an episode of Moonshiners, because that's how, like, much anxiety it gave me. I would just, like, chain smoke watching it because I hate watching myself on TV. But the worst thing that I remember seeing is one episode where I do a nitrous infusion, where I charge a beer keg under pressure, and then I release that pressure, and carbonating it, and then essentially decarbonating it to rapidly extract the flavor. And they ask us, they'll be like, say this, and they'll ask you, like, repeat yourself so many times. And at one point, when they were asking me to repeat what I was saying in an OTF, the person doing the interview for me was like, can you talk about your what I forget how they said it. Instead of nitrous oxide, they said, like, nitrogen dioxide. And I just literally said it back to them. And that's the part that got put on the episode. And when I saw that, immediately I was like, oh my God, I don't even remember saying that. Like, I can't believe I said that. I said it correctly like 200 times. And one time I said it incorrectly. And one is like a toxic gas, and the other one is what we use to carbonate soda with. So, that for me, I was super hard on myself when that happened. And I to this day, loathe myself for saying that. Things I'm proud of, there's lots of things. I love to watch when we build the furnace, because that's like a great memory for me. I brought Cherokee White Eagle corn, and I learned how to malt corn. So Mark Rogers and Huck actually taught me how to malt grains. That was an amazing learning experience. And what's amazing about the show is all of these episodes are just like memories that I cherish, and learning experiences that I also cherish, but they're memories, and they're on video, right? So in 10 or 20 years, if I can go back and watch that and watch these cherished memories that I have, because each one of these experiences, they mean a lot to me. So I would say all of it in a way is nice to look back on.
That's so cool. You just said it. I actually just said that to my daughter. My oldest daughter helps us out with the show from time to time. We run stuff by her. She's actually the intro for our show. She did that for us a while ago. Charles surprised me with it. But anyway, we just had this conversation the other day. I'm like, it's pretty cool. No matter how big this ever gets or whatever, we're having a great time, and it's going to be out there forever, hopefully, unless they shut us down. But like, it's something that we've done together that we're pretty proud of. We have amazing guests on every week. We get to do something we love and interview people we care about, and something we can put out there forever. So I agree with that 100%. Like, it's something that we're proud of, and we can put out there that we're, put our name on, and hopefully it sticks around.
Should be proud. You guys are like genuine, authentic people, and I think that carries through in the content that you're making. And it's hard for me to watch a podcast. I watched your podcast for hours. And I watched the whole thing. And instead of sleeping on a plane one day when I was really exhausted, I watched like 2 of your podcasts. And I was like, okay, I'm genuinely really excited about going on this podcast because you guys do it well. I think you make good content. I genuinely, seriously mean that. You do a good job.
I will say this. The people that we get on here, we don't get people on here that are just, hey, get this person on here, whatever. We actually care about what the person has to say. And we really get, we try to get involved in what they're doing, what their lifestyle is, how they act, what they present, and we want to be a part of it. And it's not something that we're just trying to go over here and ask a few questions. We don't come in here scripted with anything. We just want to sit down. We talk about it with like the cigar lounge life. Just saying. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Anyways, we like to sit down. Don't worry about it. We like to sit down and just, if we were sitting talking with you at a bar or at a lounge, we're just wanting to do the same thing that we're doing there that we're doing with you. So my last question. So if you've watched the last couple, you're going to know what this one is. We are both girl dads, and we talk about this a lot. As a female in this industry, as a female in any industry, my 14-year-old daughter comes up to you and asks, what is the best piece of advice that you can give me when I'm choosing my path to go down? She is my 14-year-old just went down and signed up for her high school classes yesterday. So if she was looking up to some young lady like you and saying, "Hey, what do I need to do? How do I follow my passion? What can I do to do that?" What advice would you give her?
That's an excellent question. I love it. Thank you for asking that. I try to give advice to young women all the time. So I have a little bit of experience how to answer this question because I have a lot of young women that look up to me. As crazy as that is to me, I mean, what I tell these young girls is if you love something, then that just means you're going to be 10 times better at it. If you can find something that you love, then you should definitely do that. And one thing that I tell them all that they should just know, obviously, because, I mean, girls do everything better than boys. Whatever a man can do, a woman can do better because they should just automatically know that in the back of their mind. And ultimately, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you are just the hardest working person in the room, and that will apply differently at different stages in your life, but just be the hardest worker. Find what you love, do it well. And whatever you are, be a good one. And don't ever let... I don't believe... We say the word a lot, male-dominated industry. Just that term alone puts a perspective on it or puts a idea in your mind that it's maybe not something a woman would be as good at. I don't really think that there's any such thing as a male-dominated industry. There's just industries that women are less inclined to participate in, but it doesn't mean that they are and not as good at it. Like, they can do anything that a man can do, obviously. And just be the hardest working person in the room, and you will eventually be recognized by everyone around you.
I've always told, I've got 2 daughters, so I've always told both of them, the moment that you hear that the path that you're going down is male dominated, go in there and dominate yourself.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. F yeah. Yes.
I mean, the
100%.
moment that you hear somebody say, "Why do you do that?" That
should light a fire under you.
Yeah, that's a guy's job. That's a dude's job. Go in there and say, "No, that's my job."
Show them how it's done.
Show
them how it's done.
Yeah, I coached. I know I mentioned it earlier. I coached girls soccer forever, and my favorite part of the year, we do inter squad scrimmages, boys against girls at our high school. And when our girls would beat those boys, man, it was like the highlight of my fucking year. Like it was unbelievable. Like it was every year. Oh yeah, I love it. I love it so much. So I guess we got a ask it forward question, don't we, Charles?
So what we have coming up, the last we used to do 10 hotbox questions, but we've scaled it down a little bit. The last question that we have is called a play it forward. And what that is the guest that we had on last week, which was Sarah Rodriguez with West Hemp and Tobacco.
I loved her. I watched her interview. She was so awesome.
She is so amazing. We asked her to ask you a question from her.
Okay.
And sometime this week, we're going to ask you to ask this to Marianne next week.
Yes.
So,
okay. I love that.
So we're going to go ahead and do this. So Play It Forward is brought to you by our newest sponsor.
What's up, the Southpaw Stogies here. First, I want to just say thank you for supporting us and supporting the Real Smoke podcast. So next time you're in Lebanon, Tennessee, please be sure to come out and experience Southpaw Stogies. Got a great selection of cigars here, great selection of beer and coffee. And by the way, I just want to give another local shout out to Crown's Heads. Look at this beautiful band there. We've got them here at Southpaw Stogies. So we're here at 402 East Main Street, Lebanon, Tennessee, and stay smoky.
So huge thanks to Southpaw Stogies for this sponsorship. Hey, Mick, what did Sarah want to know?
Sarah said, and my question tonight for Amanda is, I know how it is being a woman in the cigar industry and seeing how much women how much the women population has grown in this industry, but how is it for a woman in the moonshine industry? Are there more women involved in your industry than I think there are? Is the moonshine industry in your blood? Have you discovered that someone in your family, such as a great-grandparent, was involved in the craft even before you were born? I hope that question was okay. Have a great show. So that's what Amanda said. Or yeah, that's what Sarah said to Amanda.
Excellent question. Yeah. Thank you for the question, Sarah. You're awesome. So there are lots of women in the moonshine industry. There is women in the chat right now who are moonshiners, who I know and are supportive. I try to support them. There is a rich history of women distilling in the moonshine world and the legal world. I mean, if you go back, I've been writing a piece I'm trying to do every couple of days and maybe at least once a week, but it's less than a week. I'm releasing like an article that I've written about the history of women in distilling. So I try to go back and research and try to pay homage to these women and recreating their spirits, how they would have done it. There's lots of women in the history of distilling, in modern day moonshining. When I first came into moonshining, I did not see a lot of women doing it. And in the years I've been doing it, I have seen more and more women do it. And I love that. And I am so proud of that fact. And it's really modern day moonshining is home distilling. It's hobby distilling, right? Just like brewing beer. And that's what it really is on the scale that most of us are doing it. I just see lots of women doing it. And I love that aspect. When I began distilling, I did not know that I had any family history of distilling, but I teach most people that most likely we all have a family member, if you go back far enough, who distilled, because it was a necessity of life. It was how medicine was made. It was how crops were preserved. Almost everyone distilled at some point in your life. You go back to wherever your family immigrated from. In that country, there was a point in time where there was no liquor store. They didn't exist, right? So it was just made at home. And I didn't know who in my family had distilled. And I was with my grandmother. I spent a lot of time with her. Her name's Bryant. She's a saint, and I love her. She's one of my best friends. She's 93 years old. When I'm not working, I go and I stay with her for like a week at a time. Always, we have slumber parties, and once a month, I'll spend a week with her. She is one of my best friends. But I was with her, and her cousin, who is also about her age, is a historian, a family historian. And he came to me at a family event, and he said, "This needs to go to you." And he gave me a manila envelope. And I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "This was your great-grandfather's. It was my grandmother, Miriam's father. He distilled, and he made alcohol. And in that envelope was a book of recipes. And along with that came a rich family history where my grandmother, when I went to go on the Moonshiner show, I called my grandmom first because my dad was no longer around. So it's not like I could go to him and ask him for advice. So I called my grandmother, his mom, and I said, "Grandmom, I'm going to do this really crazy, really insane thing. And I'm going to go on television, and I make alcohol. I make moonshine." She didn't know what moonshine was, right? I told her I make alcohol. I said, "If you don't want me to do it, I won't do it." And she's like, I had in my heart practiced this conversation for like a month. And I picked up the phone to call her so many times, and I got nervous and I hung up because I was so scared to tell her this because it was such a weird, crazy thing. I called both my grandmoms, my grandmom on my mom's side and my dad's side, and I had to get permission from both of them before I embarrassed the family, right? That's what I was thinking. But both of my grandmoms told me, well, this is in our family. So on my dad's side, my grandmom's father did it during Prohibition in Philadelphia on Edgemont Street, which is where I grew up. And we have photos of them holding bottles now that we found. And I have his recipes, which I have recreated some of his recipes. And I just love that. I had done it for so many years. I have such a love and a passion for it. And I never knew where it came from. So yeah, it's cool to find that family history. I think that everybody has something like that in their family if you look for it hard enough.
I will say, Sarah, wow. if there was a better answer out there.
Amazing question. Yes.
Amazing.
I mean,
and her interview was fantastic. I just want to be her friend. I loved her energy and the person. I just want to be friends with that girl. I watched it. I'm like, she's freaking awesome.
She's so cool. So meeting her in person, she is exactly what you saw in there as she is in person. She is a great person to just sit and talk with. So I will say this. There's a couple of things I want to hit on before we let you go. One, you talked about all the people, from either the Master Distiller competition or whether it was the Moonshiner show. You talked about all the different people that had come in and out of it, that were small distillers that are trying to get their presence known, that you wish that other people would hear about them and learn about them. If there is somebody out there that has their own, and we'll do it so we don't get them in trouble, legal distillery, that they're wanting to get their name known, send them our way. We'll do the same kind of conversation with them. That way we can let people know all about them.
Yeah.
Feel free to do that. The second thing is, when I would love to get you back on here again. Just watching the chats, there are so many questions in the chats that we'll never get to tonight.
I know. There's a lot.
I would love to get you back on here tonight or some other night and just go over some of those questions and, talk about just different experiences. We've already got your history in. Let's talk about, just fun history, fun facts, fun experiences that you've had.
Yeah. This is a different kind of podcast because that's what I normally do. It's what I do for a living. I talk about history and science and my life experiences and my experiences in my career distilling, and that's how I teach. So I'm great at that. This podcast had me nervous because I'm like, they're going to ask me questions about my teenage years, my personal life, and my childhood, and I was
we want to know who you are.
I love how you guys do it. It's respectful. And yeah, I'd be happy to come back. It's just the way that you can convey your interview I really appreciate. And I'm grateful that you had me on. It's an honor to be grouped in the grouping of women that you guys chose. I had another friend of mine who is pretty big in the distilling industry. I admire him quite a bit. I won't say who he is, but he sent me a text message with a picture that you had of the 4 women, and I hadn't seen it. I had no idea. I just agreed to do your podcast, and he sent me the photo in a text message, and he was like, holy crap, like freaking A, right, this is awesome, good for you. And I looked at it and I'm like, me and Marianne Eves, and I saw the other 2 girls, and I'm not familiar with the cigar industry, but then I looked them up and I was like, how am I in this group of people? I said it's such an honor to be grouped with these women because I have so much respect for them in their industries. And I admire these women so much that it is an honor for me to be on your show, for you to ask me to interview me, and to be paired next to Marianne Eves in a Women in Distilling interview is an honor that I probably don't even deserve, because she is a incredible.
Yeah, you do. Hang on.
I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I know Mick's going the same route. You were once told by somebody very wise. Did you pat yourself on the back?
Yeah. Really? Like right now?
Yeah. Did you pat yourself on the back?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. You have earned your place where you are. So
100%.
100%.
Thank you.
This is, we tried to get you on here last year before that you've gone through what's going on. So just say that's a year. You've grown a year since then.
Yes. Yeah. I've gotten so much. I accelerate so much. Yeah.
No, I'll be honest. Like we just wanted to hear your full story because everybody knows you from the show, and we've watched the show and we've watched some other, but we wanted to know you, and that's really what we try to do in this show. And like Charles said, you've absolutely earned your spot, and you're obviously a big advocate for women in whatever industry they're in. It's in to push themselves forward and succeed. Give yourself some credit. I mean, honestly, we're big fans. We do want to have you back on. I did have one or two things quick to touch on as well. I always say this at the end of an interview. If you ever have anything you want to promote or push out, you're part of the Real Smoke family, whether you like it or not. You're now part of our family as well. So like anything you want to push out, let us know.
Send me a t-shirt. I represent I collect. I live in. I don't buy clothes anymore. I buy clothes for the Moonshiner show, and then I live in and support my friends' t-shirts.
Okay.
So,
We have lots of t-shirts out there, but we could definitely hook you up. But no, we'd love to have you back on. And if you can ever sneak in like Mick and Charles in a show, just say screw Mick and Charles, like it's something like that. That'd be cool too. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
they would edit it out. They would edit it out because it wouldn't make sense. But I could. But they would edit it out.
No,
but you guys can totally come to like a class. We can discuss this later, and I would love to do another podcast. We can do like a different format. You can ask whatever kind of different history questions. I mean, I again have that weird memory kind of system where I have a wealth of knowledge, and I've been blessed with being given a wealth of knowledge from a amazing, diverse group of people. So I'm happy to talk about whatever kind of distilling science and history topics in the future.
We appreciate it. We love the fact that you came on here tonight. You have given so much of your time tonight, a whole lot more than what we told you that you were going to be on here. So
That's
we
okay.
appreciate it.
I knew it was going to be. I blocked it out for you guys. It's all good.
I've been watching.
Thank you.
I've been watching the chat. You have so many fans on here that are saying so many fabulous things about you. You know, guys, if you're on here, go follow. If you're on here and you are a Real Smoke person, do us a favor. Go follow her. Go follow Amanda on her podcast or on her social medias. If you're Amanda's followers, go follow us. We would love to see you on there. We have a lot of good episodes coming up. But I will
can't wait
always
to watch next week. I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait to have next week. We got to see you in the chat.
That'd be awesome.
So Mick,
I think I'm on a podcast next week at the same time. So that sucks.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna have to watch it later. But if I can get in the chat, I'm definitely gonna try to, for sure.
All right. I appreciate it.
All right. So Mick, I'll let you go ahead and end everything tonight with our guest.
No, I don't have a whole lot to follow up on. You were absolutely amazing. Everything we could ask for in a show. It was great to get to know about your past and your upbringing and how you got into the whole industry. Keep fighting for. I mean, obviously you're a strong woman and you've proven yourself every job you've ever had, and just keep doing what you're doing. And we're excited to see where it goes because I know you're just one of those people that won't say no or take no for an answer. And I appreciate you greatly, and nothing but success. And we will support you every way we can. So I appreciate you being on.
I appreciate it. And thanks everybody who's in the chat and watching this whole time. Thank you all for tuning in and supporting us. Very much appreciate you all.
All right. So thank you so much for being on here. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys. Peace out. Be good.
Yeah, peace. All right. So like that, episode 68 is in the books. So we had a few like key breaks, poor breaks,
a couple,
good breaks. We had a couple. It's all
We'll
good. It'll be fine. So we do have a couple things to get on here. So if you're still watching and you are one of the Real Smoke people, make sure you type in hashtag Real Smoke. You have to be live in the chat to make sure that you win a prize. If you happen to be one of Amanda's awesome followers, if you want to win a chance to win some cigars from Cigar Vault Oakdale, type in hashtag Real Smoke. We'll make sure that they get out to you, but you have to be live to win that one. So we do have a couple of different things to do. We have a cigar review to do. We have a some prizes to give away, and we have some Meanwhile in Memphis. So we have a couple of different spots left. Let's go ahead and jump into those and get those over with because it's been a long night, but it's been a good night. I would not have traded this one in for anything. It's been so good. Amanda was, I mean, damn.
Amazing.
The girl needs to go on more podcasts. She said this is the first one that she's done like this. She needs to do more. Just say it.
She's amazing. Represents every time.
Represents. All right. So what's next? We do have cigar
review, I believe.
Ooh. So if you guys don't know, one more time, let's go ahead and go over the cigar that we did tonight. I will say, with all of the weird stuff in the back end on these, like seeing like the different, I guess, big pictures, small pictures. Sorry, it's hard to find the images. Tonight we did the American Viking cigar Unkillable. It is the cigar done by Tim Swanson with Cigars Daily. We did review that one. He pushed that cigar out to be such a good cigar, so we wanted to know what it was like.
Yep.
So we ended up reviewing that cigar for tonight. So tonight's cigar review is brought to you by Cigar Army. I cannot find Cigar Army because everything on here is completely different than normal.
Tonight's cigar review is proudly sponsored by Cigar Army. The Cigar Army is a community brought together by their shared love of cigars, but bonded by something much deeper, their mission to give back to those in need. Through Operation Give Back, they honor the courage and dedication of our military and first responders, both active and retired. Their bravery and selflessness make the freedoms we enjoy possible, including this very moment to sit here, share a cigar, and connect with our Real Smoke audience. Every puff carries a story. Every draw is a tribute to their sacrifices. This isn't just about cigars, it's about gratitude, about compassion, and about giving back to the heroes who shaped our lives. Join them in the mission to make a difference, one cigar at a time. Check them out on Instagram at Cigar Army 3 or search Cigar Army on Facebook. Together, we can turn our passion into purpose.
Huge thanks to Cigar Army for all your sponsorships. We love everything that you're doing for the cigar industry, as well as all the different givebacks that you guys give away. We love what you're doing.
Amazing.
So thank you so much.
Amazing.
So Mick, you have the first part of the cigar review. Let's go ahead and do that.
Sure. Let's do it. All right. So aroma from the body, I got light hay, oakiness, and light cocoa. Aroma from the foot, I got natural tobacco sweetness, hay, and raisin. Taste from the cold draw, I got light cocoa and raisins. First third notes, I got leather, earth, light cocoa powder, rye bread. It was oaky. Retro was light black pepper and cocoa. Second third notes, I got leather, dry earth, milk chocolate, rye bread, and again it was oaky. Retro was black pepper, chocolate, and a little bit of oak. Final third notes, I got toast, leather, earth, dark chocolate, touch of cinnamon, oak, black pepper. Retro was black pepper, chocolate, and woodsy. So I will say the slightly uneven burn. I had like 2 touch-ups. Draw was a little bit tight for me. I know we talked afterwards, and you said yours was great. So mine tonight was a little bit better than the first one. But I would say it was a medium plus. I don't think it really hit that full like everybody said, but it was still an outstanding cigar the whole way through. Great flavor profile. Pre-light experience, I gave it a 19 out of 20. Beautiful wrapper on this thing. It was like one of the most oily, perfect colored wrappers I've seen on a cigar in a while. Flavor enjoyment, 13 out of 15. Construction characteristics, 27 out of 30. Smoke production, final thoughts, 31 out of 35. And I gave it a 90.
You gave it a 90. All right. So I'm looking at Amanda. She's still in the green room. She's listening. She's like, what are these crazy people talking about with cigar flavors?
Nerds.
I will say, yeah, nerds.
Wait. Is she's still in there? You said she needs to stick. She needs to stick around for my Meanwhile Memphis story. If you have like another 20 minutes, or 15 minutes, you need to stick around because
she's like engaged right now. I'm just looking.
The Meanwhile Memphis story, it'll be great. I promise.
Just saying, for somebody who's into whiskey and stuff like that, cigars have a lot of flavor notes as well. So let's go into mine really quick. So aroma off the body, manure, sweet tobacco, fruit. I got a lot of peach note to it. Aroma off the foot, sweet tobacco, fruit. Aroma, taste off the cold draw, sweet tobacco, cocoa powder. I will say that we hit a lot of the same notes this time.
Okay.
On the light notes are earth, oak, slight sweetness. Into the first third, the palate oak, dark chocolate, coffee, and a slight sweet cream, and a slight spice at the end. The retro is dark chocolate, black coffee, slight sweetness, and a black pepper. Draw is fantastic. Burn is razor sharp. Ash is tight and clean. And again, if you guys don't know what I mean by tight and clean, when I smoke the cigar, I do not have to wipe ash off me. So the ash is tight and clean, and holds pretty much past the third. I've got on here, it held the third. It held well past the third. Smoke is thick and chewy. Finish is medium long and leaves a slight sweet note, medium plus in strength. Into the second third, notes up front are coffee, chocolate, tobacco sweetness, a slight spice. The retro is coffee, oak, chocolate, a slight nutty note, and a soft pepper. The draw is still great. Burn is fantastic. Ash is clean and stacks dimes. Finish is still medium long and leaves a sweet tobacco note on the palate, but a slight spicy note on the lips. Strength is about a medium plus, maybe a minus, full minus. The final third notes is all sweet notes are gone. Notes are espresso, oak, earth, and on the palate, the retro is a nutty earth, bitter coffee. Draw, burn, ash, still all the same. Sorry. Excuse me. Finish is enjoyable. I gave it about a full minus in strength. So going into pre-light experiences, I gave it a appearance. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Aroma off the cold draw, aroma and cold draw, 9 out of 10. Flavor enjoyment, a 13 out of 15. Smoking construction, again, second week in a row, flawless construction. I gave it a 30 out of 30. Smoke production and texture, I gave it a 5 out of 5. Overall experience, a 17 out of 20. Would I smoke it again? 9 out of 10. I'd buy a box. The biggest thing that I wanted from this one was the flavor enjoyment was there. It was a great cigar all the way through. But what I look for in a great cigar, this was a good cigar, a very good cigar. What I look for in a great cigar is that I'm taking on that trip.
Yep. Change.
I want to go on that trip of different experiences. Yep. Just like with whiskey, I want to go on a trip of different enjoyments. This one was great flavor, but it was the same flavor throughout. There was a few different changes, but it was the same flavor throughout. So, 92. I gave this one a 92. You gave it a 90. So this one, Real Smoke Podcast gives the American Viking Cigar Company the unkillable. Mick says 90. I say 92. We average that one out to a 91. So the American Viking Unkillable gets a 91 from the Real Smoke Podcast.
Great cigar. I agree completely, man. I could not have said it any better myself. It just did not really change the whole way through. A couple nuances here and there, a couple little flavor notes that I picked up on, but man, great cigar. Would I buy it again? Hell yeah, I'd buy it again. It was great. It just
so with thinking about it, I mean, thinking about it, I'm lighting up something right now. This is a Blackbird unreleased kind of thing. I'm looking at it going, I wish I had another Unkillable.
Yeah.
It was a good cigar. I mean,
Absolutely.
I would smoke that one again.
It was great. Absolutely great.
All right, guys, we have some prizes to give away. We have two $25 gift cards to Cigar Vault Oakdale to give away. The way that you enter in to win this one, you have to be on Rumble. You have to be on YouTube. You have to be on Facebook. You have to type in the hashtag Real Smoke. Hashtag Real Smoke. You have to be live in here to win. If you are not in here to win, you cannot win at all. Also,
we spin again.
Mick, go ahead and give the rest of the rules that all the people who won before have to know.
Yeah, so it's only the second week of the month, so you still got a pretty good chance. If you won already this month from Cigar Vault Oakdale, I guess from anywhere now, we changed the rules on that a little bit. If you've already won this month, you cannot win again this month. So the people that have won this month is Cigar Test Ride and Rob the Cigar Czar. So unfortunately, you're just along for the ride on this one. Get it? Test Ride, Cigar Test Ride.
Test Ride. There
anyway,
so if you won from any sponsor or any guest, if you've already won, you cannot win again.
Correct. And
all right, cool.
To beat the algorithm tonight, we're going to go with 3. Roll number 3, and also roll number, I don't know. Let's go 3 and 3. It sounds great. 3 and 3. 3
and 3. So on here, you see that we do have episode 68 with Amanda Bryant. We do have hashtag Real Smoke, and we do have exclude winners when doing multiple draws excluded. So we are going to spin 3 times, and wow, Amanda's on here. I don't know how she got on here, but dang, she's on here.
Hi, Amanda.
There she is. She's just hanging out, just chilling. All right, cool. I don't know how I did it on here, but whatever. So we're going to spin 3 times. Third person is our winner. So the first $25 gift card to Beard Apothecary, there it goes. Happens at least once a month. Here we go.
It's like 3 times a month. Let's be honest.
Oh, shut up. Shut your evil mouth.
I gotta mess with you a little. I gotta mess with you a little
hologram
because you stole all my questions for the first time ever tonight. It was the hardest show I've ever done because you stole all my questions. Every time I'm like, I have a question, and then you say it. I'm like, damn it, Charles. So anyway, go ahead.
Dang it. Well, hologram, you're a first loser. I mean, you did not win. Sorry, did not mean to call you a loser.
He'll come back around.
The second. Yeah, he'll get it in a third. Second winner or second non-winner is Cigars with Angel. Angel, sorry you did not win. So this person is going to be our winner for tonight.
Twice in a row. I know he's here, so I'm going to write it down.
So, Cigars with Angel, you're on here. Is he a winner before?
No.
Okay, so Cigars with Angel, you have a chance to win a $25 gift card to Beard Apothecary. Oh, my God, twice in the night.
I called it.
Oh, my God. From Cigar Vault Oakdale. It's in my head. You've got it in my head right now. So you have about 10 mix seconds left. Just saying.
Am I really going
to
have to cross this out?
Cigars with Angel. No, he says he's here.
Okay.
So Cigars with Angel, you are here. So we're going to go ahead and draw the next one. So the next one, here we go. He says 3 again. So the first person who does not win is going to be whom? Rob the Cigars are. You did not win. So the second person who does not win is going to be whom?
That's
all the proof I need.
It's a new one.
All the proof I need. I need you to win because you're a new name.
It's a great name.
All the proof I need. Love that one. All the proof I need. Make sure that you have subscribed to us. All right, here's the winner. Who do we got? If it's Angel, I quit.
Yeah, he don't win again. He already won.
Really? Rob the Cigars are.
He already won.
No, he already won this month. All right, roll
again.
again. Here we go. Sorry, Rob. Mick says you suck.
Much love, Rob.
Love you, buddy. Hologram.
Hologram has not won.
Hologram has not won. So, Hologram, are you on here?
I think I'm going to write it down. I'm feeling it.
I'm looking at my phone as well as, yep, there he is. Hologram says he's here. So, those are our 2 winners tonight. Awesome.
Hell yeah. You guys, congrats. You guys know the rules. Just send me your stuff, and we will get that sent to Cigar Vault Oakdale. Not Beard Apothecary.
I'm going to do this just for the hell of it because she's
There she
still on
is.
here. I just, she doesn't have to say a word, but just because the fact that she's still on here, I'm just going to put her on screen. So,
so let me say this real quick. So my story, my last one, it's close to home. So it's good that Amanda's on here. And so it's going to be a good one.
So we do have one little segment left before we end out tonight. By the way, it's 3 hours and 13 minutes in. We're a little bit late. So we do have Meanwhile in Memphis to do. So Meanwhile in Memphis is brought to you by Brooder Cigars.
Listen up, Perf heads. If your cutter feels like a toy and your gear's got no soul, it's time to level up. Brooder Cigar Accessories. 100% American made. Veteran-owned, built like a tank, passed down like a rifle. This ain't mass-produced junk. It's the Heirloom Collection. Precision-built with Grade 5 titanium, magnetic steel blades, magnetic action, and inlay so clean they'll make your humidor blush. Check out the Heirloom Ambassador, a semi-custom raw titanium anodized finished cutter with exotic woods like Purple Heart and Bolivian rosewood. Or the Heirloom Elite, a fully customizable cutter with Cerakote, abalone, two-tone layouts, every detail dialed in. Each piece is serialized, built with pride, made to outlive you. So if you're tired of plastic cutters and flimsy lighters, go check out Brooders. Hit their website. Get something that matches your smoke game. Brooders, where legacy meets grit.
I love the accent. Just saying.
I do too. Hey, I think we have a problem though. Did we do haze gray tonight? Amanda has a photographic memory. Do we do haze gray?
No, we did not. So I will say that we should have said our prizes is brought to you by Haze Gray Cigars, because Haze Gray is an amazing group of people that we absolutely love and we would not forget, because it's all Amanda's fault. Just saying.
Savor every moment with Haze Gray Cigar. Each blend is crafted for bold flavor, veteran-inspired character, and premium construction. From smooth and approachable to rich and complex in flavor, Haze Gray delivers a cigar for every palate. Now available our new release, Irmaus du Mar. Order Haze Gray Cigars online at Fat Boys Cigars and from Wolfpack Cigar Club and the Cigar Vault, Oakdale. Visit our website for a list of nationwide retail lounges and to grab some cool Haze Gray merch to rep our brand. As always, we've got your sticks.
So how can you tell that you're part of the Real Smoke family when we're able to go ahead and pick on you and blame shit on you? Just saying. So Mick, it is some Meanwhile in Memphis.
It is.
Do you have some good stuff for Meanwhile in Memphis?
I think so. I got like
Meanwhile in Memphis, the sky turns wild. Stray gators and pools running free and wild. Some guys wearing mud boots with a suit on trial. Meanwhile in Memphis, let's stay here a while. Meanwhile.
All right, so my first story, it's honestly not that funny. It's kind of fucked up. Like it's one of those that if it happened to you, you wouldn't be real happy. But there's one part at the end. But there's one part at the end where they interviewed the lady that lived in the house, and it's pretty funny. North Memphis family says police raided the wrong home while searching for a fugitive. North Memphis family says a dozen armed officers stormed their home this past Wednesday, while searching for a fugitive that they say never lived there. My printer ran out of ink too, so it might be a little hard to read here, but bear with me. This guy, a night shift worker and father of 4 homeschooled children, said that he had just fallen asleep after returning from work when officers began banging on the door of his home on Breedlove Street. Breedlove? Is that really the name of the street? Breedlove Street? Anyway, near Keene Street, located just south of Volantow Street. Why do they give 10 street names here? Who cares? Anyway, so I'm like, what's going on? They're like, open the damn door. Open the damn door. Open the door, they said. I'm like, what? What are y'all doing? They're like, we're looking for somebody, and we got a warrant. Open the damn door, is what he said. The ring camera shows that armed officers were approaching the house in waves and kicked in the door. Officers walked into the house, and then he brought his children outside. I don't know why the guy brought his children outside, but anyway. MPD spokesperson said to Action 5 News that the Memphis Police Department fugitive unit they were at this location attempting to locate a man named Samuel Shine. So that kind of speaks to the Samuel Shine. Sounds like a great moonshiner name. Several active arrest warrants for cocaine possession with the intent to manufacture, deliver, or sell is who they were looking for. The department spokesperson said the address was linked to Shine. Ain't no Shine here, he said. He ain't been here in over 12 years. That's the one guy said. So anyway, they go down over the thing here. Here's the best part. The wife was later interviewed, and she said, I just go to work, come home every day. I don't go clubbing. I don't do nothing. I really don't even shop. I order stuff online, and people bring it to me. I try to protect my peace and my family. I don't know no Shine.
So, Amanda, have you ever heard anybody said that they don't know no Shine? I don't know no Shine.
She's just taking it all in. All right. So this one's a little shorter, and this is after I replaced my ink cartridge. It was a little better. Highway 51 in Millington closed after chicken byproducts are littered all over the road. Memphis, Tennessee. Highway 51 was closed on Wednesday night, March 11th, near Shelby Road in Millington due to a chicken byproduct littering on the road. An unsecured load of chicken byproducts spilled onto Highway 51 in Millington on Wednesday, according to a statement by the city of Millington.
Dang it, Bobby.
Millington Fire, Millington Police, and our public works crew are currently working a scene on Highway 51 on Shelby Road, responding to a northbound truck carrying chicken byproducts that lost unsecured material onto the roadway.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
So here's the best one. The road was reopened Wednesday evening, according to Millington Police Department. A spokesperson said that this is a reminder that Millington unsecured loads and littering on our streets will not be tolerated. Whether it's chicken waste, materials, debris from waste trucks, or even a Taco Bell cup, if you litter on our streets, you will be held accountable. The driver of the truck responsible for the spill was stopped by authorities. However, he was not cited. So you will be responsible. Fuck it. You drop 50 pounds of fucking chicken on the road. Who cares? Just have a good night.
So if you drop your load on the side of the road, you will not be held accountable.
No, not
I
at
will.
all.
So
Not at all.
I did reach out to the people and to ask, do you have a comment on this? And I got this.
I give him that huck too and spit on that thing.
Just saying.
Amanda's like, why am I still on this show? All right, so here's.
Does it go off the rails? Here it goes.
It does. We waited till you're gone, kind of gone at least. All right, so here's the best. Here's the best one.
What happens when you hang out in the green room? You get brought back on. Sorry.
All right, so this is my third story of the night, and Amanda, this is I don't know if you saw this last week. I have a guess what state this came from segment. So this is not from Memphis, and Charles is like 4 for 5 on this. So a pooper seeks to flush charges. The notorious blank pooper, this blank from this state woman who doo-dooed on another motorist's car in a road rage incident in April, is using what might be called the bidet of justice to flush charges against her. Christina Salmento, 44. It's good to see she's grown up in her 40s. Was charged with an incident of exposure, disorderly conduct, depositing waste on a highway, criminal mischief, harassment. She then had an open lewdness charge added to her docket. Salmento will be on probation for 2 years. In addition, she will be required to log community service hours, take anger management classes, and avoid posting about her case online. What state was this pooper from?
All right, Amanda, I'll let you go first. This was a shit-tastic. You're on mute, just saying.
Can you unmute her?
Yeah. Okay, you're off mute.
Oh.
So what
Florida.
state do you think this Florida? Okay, I say Texas
So let me give you a little hint
or
here.
Arizona.
The actual name of her case was called the Delco Pooper.
New Jersey? What's
That's what
Delco? No. I
that's
think
what
of
I said.
Roger Delco, New Jersey. I'm thinking of a business in New Jersey.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, you got me there.
There's some. Do not go to do not go to Pennsylvania. The poopers are out there.
The wife actually picked that one out, but the Delco Pooper. Yeah, so it's actually down in the
Delco
Philly
Pooper.
area. Yeah, the Delco Pooper.
Oh. I mean, if you've been to Kensington,
Ooh.
it's not a shocker. It's not too far-fetched.
I think my favorite part of all these
It
stories
is not a
the writing.
shocker.
It's my favorite part's the writing on this. Like she had to log her community service. Come on, stop it. You didn't need to say that. But
Come on, the writer was
Avoid
great.
posting on social media. I would have loved to see what she was posting first.
I don't want to see what she was
Yeah.
posting.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I mean, I will say that we have had a couple of people end up hanging out in the green room before after their interview. We have always brought them back on here just to mess with them, have some fun with them. Love the fact that you hung out and you had some fun with it too. So,
That's what you're supposed to do. My friends always say, make sure you stay in the green room until afterwards so we can say goodbye backstage. So that's what I was trying to do.
So Mick, can I do something different?
Do it.
I
Absolutely.
always give you the last word. Can I give her the last word?
100%.
All right, so I'll go me, you, and her. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for being on here. Guys and gals, if you were on here and you were enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe, like, all that wonderful stuff. We'd love to have you on here. Next week, we do have Marianne Eves on here on Tuesday. We do have Michael Herklotz on Thursday. We have a action-packed episodes on both days. Come join us. Come hang out. If you are somebody who's in the whiskey era, come join us and come learn about cigars on Thursday. If you are in the cigar realm, come hang out with us on Tuesday and join us and learn about whiskey. We love the fact that you guys jumped on here tonight. It means a lot to us. Without you guys on here, we would not be on here as well. Thank you so much. Mick, all you.
Another amazing night with another strong, amazing woman in her industry. We're not because she's on here with us. I would have said this regardless. We're so proud and so happy that the guests that we have on this month, and I'm so excited to continue this month on, continue supporting. And it's not ever about us. It's about bringing these guests on and getting them exposure, and hopefully we all grow together and just have fun with it. But take time this week, smoke a great cigar, or have a great drink with someone you love. And Amanda, close this out.
Well, thank you guys, of course, for having me. This is awesome. I really appreciate you letting me tell my story in a way that I have never done before. And I will be happy to come back. I'll be watching you guys from now on. And thank you for everyone, all the viewers who supported us, because we would not be here without you. We wouldn't be doing this at all, actually, if it wasn't for you guys. So
we just be
you
talking.
rock. And I always end my videos with be good. So you guys have a good night and be good.
Be good. Take it easy.
The smoke is thick, the air is tight, cigars are lit. sight. Pour the whiskey, tequila too. This one for Mick and Charles and you. Thank you for tuning in. The Real Smoke Podcast makes us all grin. You light us up, you keep us strong. Cheers to you, we raise the song. Conversations deep, the stories fly. Ashes fall, with spirits high. The gas is rolling, the penters flow. You've kept us burning, don't let it go. Thank you for tuning in. The Real Smoke Podcast makes us all grin. You light us up, you keep us strong. Cheers to you.